We recording. What's up?
Yo.
There we go.
Damn,
Hey,
yo,
what up? Dave just disappeared.
Man, Hollow Man over here.
Nigga Dave
what up,
is
man?
invisible, man.
Hollow Man. Took it back.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
What's
How
up,
we
man?
doing, guys? I miss y'all niggas. Pause.
It's
Man.
been a minute, man. It's been a
been a-
minute.
It's been a minute, man. The Miseducated podcast back, hiatus,
We back,
Back.
We here.
You know?
We want to let people know that we here. We see. We know what's going on. And we tapping in. Now is the time for we've been of course the whole COVID and all of that shit. But now is the time where we felt like we gotta
speak up and we gotta say something like the times are changing and it's crazy out there right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing we haven't
was
seen before though.
This was definitely necessary. I feel like, especially in our community, I feel like everybody has put a pause to like what they've been doing to pay attention to everything.
Absolutely.
So I feel like this was necessary. Like you give people a voice, like something that they can listen to throughout all of this, like different perspectives, and maybe learn something, like a new idea. Like this episode could breed a new idea from somebody, something like that,
Yeah.
That's the goal. For real. I mean, and honestly, before we even get into everything, I feel like even prior to shit like this happening, like that was always the goal. Like,
Of course.
You know what I mean? Give voices to like people that may not always have a voice, opinions, and like allow people to express like those opinions. You know what I mean? Like, so
I agree, man.
This does cultivate.
Definitely.
But before we get into that, gents, man, how's everybody been holding up over the past, basically 3 months now, man? We about at the third month of this thing. It started around early March. So what's
I didn't almost forgot what the start of all this was, man. We quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very, for those who don't know, very, very relevant still.
Oh,
very relevant still.
She Miss Rona is not she's still here. She's still listening to the nightmare.
Yeah, so still be careful. Wash your hands, please. Like, definitely. I turned 30 in April, so I'm taking my vitamins. I got to stretch in the morning.
Happy belated birthday to Kev.
Belated.
You know what I'm saying? I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm an old head. I can tell a youngin' that I've been there.
Oh yeah, I fucking turned 29.
That's real.
I turned 29 in March, so it was.
There it is.
Yeah.
So how was that? Like, how was that? Like your birthdays in quarantine? Like you couldn't do anything. You had to be in your house because, like it wasn't like you could go outside and meet up with friends. You could go out to dinner. Like
I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed it because you got to look at it like this: assuming the best and not the worst. I feel like this is the only time we're gonna ever in life have a quarantine birthday. So like you was really supposed to embrace that aspect of it and turn that up to the max. Like with all y'all being in like the Cabo, you know what I'm saying? Everybody FaceTiming me and stuff like that. It was a vibe. And the weather was nice too.
It was a nice day.
So that always made it better. So like that being said, Zoom and house parties, all these other little apps that just help you communicate with others like better. It just made everything easier, man. And then you got to really see who really showed you love, because it's like nobody can come and show up somewhere. It's physically hitting your phone. You're not seeing anybody in person. So a lot of people showed me love, man. But just when we think we're getting at the wit's end, man, we got a whole new war on our hands.
Man.
Whole new war, Chief.
Yeah, for real. Because this was
made a joke that LA was open and closed the exact same day.
That's a fact.
Yeah. Because Friday was supposed to be the day shit was supposed to open back again.
Certain things were opening back up on Friday, yeah.
Right.
Shit, that was the fastest closing ceremony of all time, man.
I ain't lying.
It might have been open for a few hours.
Actually, no. It was, and then the very next day, round 2 was supposed to open up at noon, and by 3 p.m.
them niggas got.
And the thing about it is, man, like, what do you think goes through like people's minds when they say, you know what, like they gotta get got? Was it their own personal experience? Was it?
It could be.
You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of it has to do with it. I think a lot of that.
My experience is there. Like the whole community really messed with the store. You know what I'm saying? So like itself. So like, and the workers. So it's just like, why would you run it up? There's really no other place where you can go now to like even get new releases
Not at
because
this time.
apparently they got cool kicks too.
Did they? Oh, I didn't
You know
know
what
they
I'm
got
saying?
cool
Like
kicks.
I'm
Man,
hoping that you know.
That's like the 4th time Cool Kicks got, man. It's
Right,
It's been
you know?
it's been a tough few years for them in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But it's
And
like,
then they Santa
people-
Monica store got
people
hit
try
at one
to-
time,
people-
didn't it?
For sure.
Santa Monica.
Yeah, I heard something about that. I heard
Go
something
ahead,
about
Kel.
that, man.
Go ahead, Kev.
But you know what? Like, and since Kev worked there at round 2,
See that's
maybe it,
see that? Can
yeah,
y'all
like
hear
maybe
me?
if you want, yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, okay, I got kicked out for a second. My bad. I thought I was starting to speak the real, and the government tapped in. You know
Oh
what
yeah,
I'm saying? They watching.
they watching.
But yeah, but like people can say what they want about cool kicks, man. At the end of the day, they some young brothers our age doing it. However they choose to do it, they're still doing it. And only because I got to see where it started from in Richmond, and it wasn't nowhere near what they have now. Nobody deserves it, black or white. But my thing is, do you really think that things can get back to, we were just talking about this the other week. Do you think things can get back to normal coronavirus wise? Now I'm asking the same exact question. Do you think we'll see a world where we can go out in public and like the judgments are going to be gone? Because at the end of the day, with all this looting and like a lot of people like tearing stuff up and making statements, that's putting an image in certain people's minds that they're not going to get out of. And I would hate for me, when all this is over, or you or Dave or James, to like apply somewhere or meet someone, and then their view of us, because we're all people of color, oh yeah, that's the last image I had of black people just tearing the city up. And it's just not fair, to be honest.
Hey, bro, can I ask you a question, man? And all of y'all, for real.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Why does that matter? You know what I mean? Like just in the sense that this is a podcast with 4 black dudes that are proud of their blackness. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
we will support like anything, you know what I mean, that we would tell each other to support. You know what I mean? Just off
right.
who color it is. But that support just stems from the fact that we all have that common ground, that one, we're black, and we can all relate to that struggle, and there's a million and one other things that we relate to. So my question is, like, after this is all done, considering how like a line has kind of been drawn in the sand, and now it's kind of like, for some people, it's like, okay, if you don't say anything regarding this, or if you don't say the right thing regarding this, you know what I mean, it's an issue. Like, after this shit is all done, bro, if the protest,
I think it's gonna be more of a divide.
No, I mean, to me, like that, I don't care about the divide, or I don't think we should care about the divide. Like, I think we should be talking about, you know, how much more unity we're about to have between like just us and our people. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's for sure too. That's actually that's a real thing.
Like, yeah, like God forbid you applying for a job or doing something and like they got that weird image of you. But honestly speaking, bro, if you apply for a job and somebody has an image of you being some type of looter or whatever, they had that image before you walked in.
Before you even walked in, yeah.
Exactly. So it's just like,
yeah, this.
I'm just trying to. I'm wondering if it's gonna be more of a divide or if it's gonna be more of like people understanding, because there's a lot of support. Like, I'm looking at my timeline. I'm sure y'all are looking at y'all's, and it's nothing but support. Like, nothing but support. You have to be literally crazy to not be with the cause right now. And it's people that are.
But at that same time, Kev, like we all know here, how if it's coming from someone who's non-black, and even sometimes black people too, as we already know, not all skin folk, your kinfolk. Shit, I just saw on the LAPD commission call that there was a whole nigga in there who really didn't give a shit what anybody was talking about. But to that point, how much of that support that we're seeing on our timelines, how much of it is actually genuine versus how much of it is just like okay, let me put this up because I don't want niggas to think that I don't care about black people, even though I'm gonna continue to profit off black culture. Like, how much of it is genuine is kind of where we are.
And to me, it's like, well, why do you want to like work with somebody like that, or why do you want to work with people like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, like, I have.
But it's like, I guess it's just a factor of like your everyday life aspect, and not just maybe an interview, but just like how much more racism or how much less racism are we going to endure after this? And as black men, like, not even as a specific situation, but like, if you go out to eat, or if you go out, are you always going to be defending yourself for the rest of your life now? You know what I'm saying? My first 3 years in LA, I personally didn't have didn't face it and didn't really come in contact with any. In Virginia, I did, but that's part of the reason why I love LA, because it's way more diverse. And I didn't really see it. And I'm not blind to the fact that I know it's still out here. But the fact that I'm just trying to say is, you know, is this going to make it worse or is it just going to make it better? And my thing is, you know,
man, like
it's
like,
kind of hard to say.
I feel like throughout all of this, like it can either be like the best situation possible, like for us, like as a people, like we support each other more now because we see that we have, like, we all we got, you know? So for like how everybody for the last 2 years, I think is like, especially in the social media era, like, and I guess you could start the social media era from like 2011, 2012. You want to throw it in there, like right when it became really big. Like people started preaching, supporting local businesses, supporting Black businesses, like immigrant businesses, like support all of those. I feel like after all of this, I feel like people are actually going to put their foot forward and actually do it, because a lot of people before, I mean, I seen that. Like, I feel like before it was just a lot of talk. Like people would be like, oh, support the Black business, like support your local businesses, go here. But then at the same time, like they still go and support the like major corporations. I'm not saying not to support major corporations. I'm saying like you can balance it out. You could do a 50-50, you know? You can do a Virgil. So,
I agree.
Oh God.
But
here you go. Here
is he back? Is he back? Is Segway back?
Hold on, not yet.
Oh my
You got a couple questions about Verge.
Let me
say.
Yeah, Dixon and Jimmy, bro. Like, how y'all been though? I know me and Kev kind of gave a little rundown on, you know, our birthdays, and you know my birthday was pretty miserable, but who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, Dixon and Jimmy, bro. How y'all been over these past few months, bro? I know we talk all the time, but shit is now niggas ain't heard from it that much.
I be MIA.
Man,
Yeah, you do. This nigga's invisible.
Like,
he's literally MIA. He's invisible on the screen.
I feel like throughout all of this, it became kind of normal to me. Like, I lost my regular job, like my 9 to 5. I still have my weekend job, so that I still have that income coming in and all that. But like I lost my regular job, and you kind of get I kind of, per se, speaking for myself, like kind of got used to it already, like just being at home and not really doing much and having to like really plan what you want to do, which is kind of weird because you're at home all day. So like, oh, I'm gonna work out at this time. Like I'm gonna read at this time. Like I'm gonna turn off the TV for a little bit at this time. Like I'm gonna go walk outside. I'm gonna go walk the dog a little longer today. So like I feel like throughout all of this, like just one thing I learned throughout all of it was learning how to prioritize things and how to use my time and spend it like how more efficiently, you know. So I feel like, and I told people too, and I put it on the podcast Twitter, like this is the one time that we're all going to have that we're all going to have off, you know, like
at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm 28 and this is the first time in my life I've ever seen my mom not work, you know? So so, you know, like, like our parents have had to work their entire lives. Yeah. And during this quarantine, like this is, I know like it's bad circumstances and everything that happened, but at the same time, it's like, we're never going to get this time off. So like use it efficiently and look at the positive side and the silver lining of things. Like you're getting time to yourself. You're getting time to figure out your life. Like you get your mind right, your body right, all that shit. Like you have time to do it. And our parents never got that opportunity. So like, yeah, it happened under bad circumstances, but it's an opportunity for us to like figure our shit out, you know?
I agree, bro. I agree.
Do you feel as though it's gonna be hard to get back into that hustle and bustle swing?
That swing thing,
like just cool, you know what I'm saying? Because I found myself where I was working from home before I lost my job, and it was just still like, okay, my Zoom call is still early in the morning, so I got to treat it as if I can't, you know. So it's just like I was in a nice little routine for a few weeks, but now it's just like, once you get all this free time, you have to force yourself to get out. What, you know, whether it's like going for a run, everybody's taking up the Nike running app. It seems like, just like maybe some new shows, anything to just take your mind off of just like sitting and staring at yourself all day. But like, just like if everything, the world opens back up, you know, and it's just like, okay, boom, you back to the 9 to 5, Jimmy, you 9 to 5, and you got your side on the weekend. It's just like it's nonstop again. and it's just getting to it like that, you know, and that's just gonna be like a shocker for real to just jump right back into it.
Like would it be easy for everybody who's been working from home or who's like pretty much been sitting on their ass at home when the work first opens up? All of us could be like, we want 4-day work weeks now. Like we actually work at home a lot. Like, so we don't want to work 5 days out of the week and the rest of or even vice versa. Like, yo, we just work 2 days out the week and then the other 5, like, you know what I mean? Like rest type shit. Like,
you think this is gonna spark a new norm in America? Do you think there's gonna be a lot of work from home?
Oh, it's gonna be a lot of.
You know, with Twitter, all the employees are working from home indefinitely. With what they said,
Facebook too.
A few months
Facebook
ago.
is too, I think.
And Google, and Google did it too. So I feel like now, I think employers can see that you can work at home now. You can sit your ass at home and you can actually get stuff done efficiently.
Get shit done.
So that's three. That's 3 major corporations we just shouted out: Google, Facebook, and Twitter. And
it's gonna be a lot.
To chime in real quick, I just wondered if any of those corporations made statements.
I'm sure.
You know,
I feel like Google did, didn't they?
I don't know if Google did. I think Twitter did that.
Or did they just post up a little Black History Month picture that they been had from some years ago on the home screen?
Hey, I'll tell you right now. If any of them did it, that's exactly.
I'm proud of Apple Music. You know, I don't have Tidal, but I'm sure they might have posted a disclaimer. But Apple Music has a disclaimer up, and that was beautiful for real. It was actually a shocker. I was like, damn, I pay my bill. Okay, no, it's just a disclaimer. But that's good. That I want to think positive so bad, guys. But I just
and you know what, bro? It's even through all of this turmoil that we're going through. See, that's what I mean, and I'm not trying to be like a person like, you know, who separates people and all that stuff, but that is the one key thing that keeps Black people afloat. We always, even when niggas is out here shooting us down, hosing us, throwing dogs on us, we ain't got no jobs. We don't get jobs because we're Black. We're still always able to find some bright side to it. I don't know how we do it. I don't know if it's just something that is just inept. It's like we're born with it. But even through all of this, I know for a fact that they're gonna be something that we'll be able to look forward to again. It's just right now, it's kind of hard to see that because shit, you're all you see is what's in front of you, you know, and it's normal to focus on what's happening. But to answer your question, I do know and I do feel that eventually we will get back to a point where we can get up out the bed and not be worrying about, you know, all of the stuff that we've been worrying about the past few months, even though it'll still be in the back of our minds because we never gonna stop working. You know, we always gonna keep going and keep trying to push forward for Black people. But we will get back to a point where we can kind of, like Jimmy said earlier, gonna go in between both worlds. You know, we'll still be able to focus on, you know, our shit, but at the same time, we ain't never giving up the fight for us. So we will. I do know that we will get back to that.
Nice, man, nice.
Yeah, man, that shit sucks because it's like what you said, Corey. Like, it's like something that like we grow up with. Like, you have to learn how to be resilient and positive. And in a weird way, it's like you can always think like, well, shit can always be worse. And I always and I always say that shit to myself. Like, whenever I'm in a weird situation or like I see shit happening, I'm like, well, this shit can always be worse. So like we can always find a way out of any situation, no matter what it is. So like that's just how I view certain things. Like when shit happens, like, man, you know, like we alive, like we made it out alive. So
shit, I said that.
It's so crazy,
Saturday.
You know. We so blessed to be able to even say that, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I said it on Saturday when I got them caught that rubber bullet to my leg. I'm like, shit, that shit could have been in my eye. I could have lost an eye. Anything could have happened, you know. I'm like, here I am.
And that to me is outrageous, man. Because there's no way you tell me that they know exactly what they're aiming at. You know what I'm saying? They're being ignorant out there when they just shooting at everybody like that, man. I'm telling you right now, it kind of deters you from like wanting to do it, because when you go out there, like Jimmy said, everybody was, oh, look at this. I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting an alert. Yeah. We are on lockdown again.
Yeah, curfew.
6 p.m. You know, they just want to reiterate that. But like I said, Jimmy said that the protests were peaceful. There was nobody evoking any kind of violence until LAPD did it first.
Bro, there's someone who tweeted, they fucking tweeted that there was like some type of on Third and Fairfax, there was some type of interpretive dance or tribal something going on, and people were singing something, and these niggas shot tear gas at them, bro.
Son, it
Like,
was on Saturday about that same thing you said, Dave. Like on Saturday at the protest, it was peaceful as fuck. We're going down Third, and we're about to hit Fairfax, and you see and there was a group of Mexicans there, and they were doing like their tribal dances, and they were preaching and all that kind of shit, and everybody was having a good time. Everybody was protesting, you know, everybody's finding a good fight. Once you hit Fairfax, and you made that right going towards like Hollywood, right there,
Right.
bro. Or you look down the street, and there's a fucking car on fire randomly, and we're like, well, how the fuck is there a car on fire when all of us are over here? Then all of a sudden, people start piling up. There's mad people, and then you see just hundreds of people just running in one direction, and it's the police just shooting at people. And then later on, we find out, well, in that same situation, the dude that was walking near me, he got hit with a fucking rubber bullet in his stomach, and he lifted his shirt up, and that shit, it dug into his stomach, and he could peel the skin off of himself. So that shit was fucking crazy. And then I got home, and you go on social media and you look up all this stuff that's going on, and you see people start saying, oh, the cops towed in that car. The cops put it right there in the middle of the street. The cops were in the CBS studio parking lot plotting all this shit. Like they were.
That's what my
there.
sister said. My sister called me all the way from Virginia, and she put in our little family group chat. She was like, that some of them are like bait cars that they're putting themselves. And I literally thought, how could that be? It sounded outrageous that would really be something they would try to pull off, you know? But you're right. It was right there at the CVS building, on fire, spray painted, windows busted out, nobody in it.
Nobody.
You know?
And then these like 4 random people just showed up and started breaking it, and those people weren't part of the protest. They just randomly showed up and started doing it. So people there were telling them like, yo, relax, like what you doing, fam? Like that's not what we're here to do. And then as soon as they did it, they just fucking bounced, they leave, and then the next thing you know, there's like 100 cops just shooting at people, and we have our backs turned to them, and we're like, yo, what the fuck? Like where they even come from? So they were just waiting for the situation to escalate to that point, so then they could just attack us.
See? And then now you go on the news. I was literally watching ABC News the other day, bro. Anything they're reporting is looters, it's people like getting hurt, you know what I'm saying? It's people doing all the worst possible shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all seen it.
Right.
I forget who the fuck it was. I'm gonna need to send you guys this video. But it's a news reporter on Twitter, and he's the first line of the tweet is like a group of protesters happened upon a cache of bricks on the side of the road. And in the video, it's a truck full of bricks on the side of the road, and a bunch of niggas with no mask on, mind you. You know what I mean? Like actual protesters who are frustrated with, I don't remember the city, but they're frustrated with police brutality in their city. You know what I mean? And obviously they've been walking around with this fucking mask on all day, so they can't breathe, so they're taking the fucking mask off. And they got these niggas on camera walking up to these bricks like, oh, a bunch of bricks. I shit you not. And it's like, yo, what type of, is this Grand Theft Auto? Like for real, for real? Niggas are just happening upon weapons?
That it happened. It happened in
Don't
Long
make no
Beach
sense,
on Sunday in Long Beach. Somebody posted a picture of a random white car. It looked like a Lincoln Town car, kind of like a cop car, but just white. And it was parked in front of the Long Beach Convention Center. And people started posting pictures of it, like, hey, don't touch this car. This car is randomly here. And then you look a few feet away, and there's a fucking Ford Explorer parked behind it. And we're like, oh, so they watching people. And then somebody said, oh yeah, people started going up to that car, to that random car. There was a phone number. There was a phone number on the windshield, and it said, call this number. This car is being sold for this much money, or whatever reason it is. People started calling that number and texting that number. Nobody responded. They got one random text, and it said, that's not my car. Stop texting and calling this number. I've got too many calls from this number. So that car was just randomly there, and the bubbles were green. So that means it could have been just a fake phone number that was being used, and they put that shit on there. And then whoever you text was the person that set it up there, and it was like, oh, that's not mine. Like, do what you want to do with it.
That's crazy.
Bro, they're setting people up like with bricks. There was a video in New York that I saw. I think I might have posted it. The cops in the Bronx last night, they was going by the jewelry store, and the jewelry store, I feel like all the stores in the Bronx, they have gates. They have metal gates, all of them. They're not like just
Right.
no glass shit. Cops got like a chainsaw or some kind of contraption. I don't know what they used. And they dug a hole in the gate so people can break through the glass and get in. And that video was recorded on a phone. And people are like, oh, so it's the riders and the looters that are doing this, huh? When it's really them setting shit up for people to do it.
Yeah, I've seen that. I think I've seen that. I think I've
Yeah,
seen that.
I posted
That's
that joint.
terrible,
I think it's on my story. But they just,
So what
but they want to do that so in the media they could portray this image of people out there protesting like, oh, they're being animals, they're being violent, and then white people in fucking West Bubblefuck middle of America that don't know what the hell is going on and only get internet 2 days out of the week.
only image they see.
But you know what? This goes back to that, and it's gonna be a beautiful segue. Y'all gonna love this. But this goes back to that first thing, that first question I'd asked, where it's like, why does it matter? You know what I'm saying? When Kevin was like, you know, how they might see us after, so we get more racist, less racist. Like, why does that matter if, you know, now we know how precisely, like firsthand, like we got a firsthand witness that was out there. Like, why does it matter what these people think in particular of us? You know what I mean? Moving forward, like,
Right. But you got a president that turns the lights off in the White House and skates when the city is on fire. Bro, did you see that overhead view pic? They were turning up. And the fact that it doesn't make no sense at all, bro. I like, some people may think it's ignorance. I really, truly think he doesn't know a right way to go about it. Because I know he wants to I for some reason know that he just want to just say, yo, just let loose in the crowd. That had to be handed down from somewhere. Even if he give these police commissioners and police chiefs like a go ahead, these are the ones, and we seen it yesterday with the statement that LAPD chief commissioner said. You know, so it's like,
shit.
If they had it their way, bro, like they would really just like go ham on all of us.
Yeah, bro, it'd be open season, bro.
It's funny that you mentioned that too, because like the image from yesterday, how Trump pretty much declared war on protesters and called it like a terrorist group pretty much. And people keep mentioning Antifa. Well, not people. Trump keeps mentioning Antifa.
Trump told me personally.
So y'all have to catch me up, because I'm one of the ones that didn't know what Antifa was. Antifa are the people that are going around just looting and making it seem like they're the protesters.
Well, they're from what my knowledge of it is, they're like a loose group, I guess you could call them. Like it's not like they have meetings like every month and be like, yo, let's all meet up and talk about what we're gonna do. It's like whenever a situation occurs, just like random of them, I guess they find each other. I don't know how they communicate. I don't know how that shit works, but they're apparently funded by a guy named George Soros. And he's like this billionaire.
So they are a real group. They haven't been named by the president. That's their name.
Yeah. Like that's a real thing. But Trump's agenda is allegedly that group is funded by George Soros, who also funds the Democratic National Convention. He funds them. He's the biggest guy. He spends the most money on them. He gives the most money. So Trump is using that narrative to say that Democrats are putting these people out on the streets to destroy the city, to like impact voting or whatever it is and all that. So he's trying to promote some kind of bullshit. That's what he's trying to do. But in reality, the people that are outside and seeing who is in fact doing the damage is the police. So when Trump says that and then declares war on the fucking citizens, then it's like, all right, fam, like what are you really doing? Like you blaming a group and then you want to attack everyone. So you clearly don't know how to separate.
So basically, long story short, Trump is saying that we're all going to be treated like terrorists.
Pretty much.
He's not just singling out them. He's grouping us with them.
You know what it kind of sounds like? It sounds like he's trying to go like the Clinton route, Bill Clinton route, where it's like just going to be hard as fuck on crime. You know what I mean? Just like look like the real militant, like, okay, this is somebody we could trust in a war, whoop, 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 so I can get his ass reelected. Because when you put it like that, if that's what that is what Antifa is, you know what I mean? And that's why he's going after Antifa, then every action that he's done in the name of like trying to protect Americans and, you know, stop looters and rioters, and in mentioning Antifa, means that it's all for political gain. It's an election year. That means he's trying to get reelected. And if he's doing shit like this, that means that there's nowhere outside of the country that he could do this shit. Like, it's not like Bush, where Bush went to Iraq It's not like Obama where he killed fucking bin Laden. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Clinton where, you had the Gulf War. Like, so Trump has to do the next best thing. You know what I mean? And he's going to go after his own citizens. That's actually nuts.
But we're fighting two wars, though, because you got Antifa that he's declaring as a terrorist group. But then you got LAPD, who some of their own opinions is just, some of them are corrupt and racist, aside from the fact,
For real.
So it's just like,
I mean, yeah. I mean, for us,
you really don't, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? I've seen videos in St. Louis. I've seen videos in Virginia, where I'm from, and that in itself is nuts because they got all these Confederate quote unquote heroes statues up. They sprayed everybody's statue up. Like, why is this really a statue in this city? It's 2020. Yeah,
like, why is that shit still up? And I don't understand why these monuments that we know the history of, I don't get why they're still there. Like, why is that? Why are you still trying to glorify this? Why are you trying to keep that there? So it just shows exactly what the agenda is in this country and what they're trying to keep alive. Exactly. And that's the fucking sad part about it, because it was just like yesterday what Trump did when the people in DC were protesting peacefully in front of the White House, and because he was going to come in and give a speech, he went and got all of them shot at. They threw tear gas at him. They do all that shit just so he could walk across the street to a church that he doesn't even go to. And he took a picture with it, with a Bible. And it was like,
I saw that video and that was cringe, man. That was so fake.
Yeah,
let me tell y'all something. I didn't hear jack shit that y'all niggas have been talking about for like the past 7 minutes. Nothing.
Don't worry about it. Just jump right in.
I'm actually calling from my other device, so I ain't have to lose a recording on this one. So, but go ahead, keep going. Y'all got it.
But he did all that to all those people just so he could walk across the street and go to that damn church,
right,
and take a picture in front of it with a Bible. And then you have pastors, preachers, all of that coming out and saying like, that's not right. And he doesn't even go here. Like, he don't even be coming to this church. So why is he even doing this?
Right.
Speaking of why people are doing things, Freeway Jimmy, earlier, Heavy asked a question. You might be an expert on it. And I was trying to allude to it earlier. Just people seeing like us as Black people just in a negative light. You know what I mean? Just inherently. And I think, Kev, you had a question earlier where you said something about what was your question? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, earlier. So I was talking to one of my Hispanic homegirls, and it was just like, me growing up, I moved here when I was 26, so like 26 years of my life. Basically, I think I've probably endured way more racist acts or racist people, because Richmond, Virginia, that's the capital of the Confederacy. It's you see the Confederate flags everywhere. Like, people wear the shirts, like people got the flags on their pickup trucks. It's like real out there. Like,
right.
You date someone of the opposite race, you're getting looked at, Now there's a whole bunch of people that aren't like that, and there's a community and you can live regular, but that's stuff I experienced. But when I come out here, I saw a post earlier that was saying like, don't be afraid to tell like your racist uncle or your racist grandparents, or tell them off and stuff like that with the Hispanic community. And I was saying that maybe James can like elaborate, because I was totally shocked. Back home, it's like racist white people versus everyone, Now, when I come out here and realize that there's some like old school, like traditional Hispanic people that are like racist, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe my ears. I had no idea about it,
So to talk about all that, it's true, that shit does happen. Like, and it starts off with immigrant families before they move to America, how the white media, because all the media in this country is white, how the white media portrays Black Americans to people outside of this country. So then when people come into this country, I personally don't think that it's like a hate towards African Americans. I think it's more so that they're afraid of them because they're portrayed as violent, like animals, all that kind of thing, So when they come here and they see them, they're like, oh shit, I'm gonna stay away from them because they say that they do this and they do that. And that happens a lot in Hispanic families. Like, you talk to the older statesmen and families, and they felt that way at one point. Like, oh shit, like I don't really want to associate with them. I don't really want to be around them. And then I look at them and I'm like, fam, you darker than them. Like,
right.
You darker than them. What the fuck you afraid? What the fuck you afraid for? If you walk down the street and a white person sees you, you black to them, and they're gonna be afraid of you. So you got to put all that shit aside, regardless of what you saw in the media, and you gotta just fucking grow up. And that's what people keep saying on social media, especially Latinos. Like, take this time. Like, if you're not out protesting, if you're not donating, like if you don't have the funds to donate and things like that, take this time to educate your family members and your friends and have tough conversations with them. And that's a very valid assessment. Like, now you get to show them, like, yo, look at this shit. Like, you see exactly what's been going on in this country with them for the last 400 years, and it's going on with you here. When you migrated here, you're being profiled just as much as them. You're being deported. You're being treated just as poorly as them. And then you still have room inside of yourself to still find a way to dislike them. Like, that absolutely makes no fucking sense. And it's just an image that is portrayed in the media to them, and they stick to that for so long that they don't know how to get away from it. But I feel like, especially in the last few years, since like I get when was it that Trayvon Martin was murdered? Was it 2012?
Man,
2012. I feel like after that, more communities started to realize, like, okay, we see exactly what's happening, because that's also happening in our community. So it's the same fight that's happening. Like, if you go to New York, if you go to New York and you see a Dominican, you see a Puerto Rican, you see a Colombian, a Ecuadorian, a Panamanian, like, they're dark skinned, they're like David's complexion, and they get hunted down by the police too. So then they're like, oh shit, it's not just us, it's them too. And we were treating them poorly, and we've been getting treated the same way. So then now everything is being exposed out in the media, especially with social media, everything being exposed. You're like, oh, okay, I see. I was wrong. Like, everybody is being treated that poorly. We see that white people feel like they're above everybody else, and they get to treat people however they want to treat them, police, all of that shit. So this has been a real eye-opener for a lot of older statesmen in Latino communities. Like, they're finally learning, and they're opening their eyes to these things, because they weren't before, even though they were being treated as such. So that shit, it's been going on for a long ass fucking time. Like, I've had to have those conversations with family members and with friends back home. Like, I've had to have those conversations with them, and I had to fucking teach them, like, yo, fam, like, you walk outside that door, you a target too. Like, you a piece of shit too. So you gotta pick a side. You either gonna fuck with them, or you're gonna realize who you really are at some point. So
yeah, man. So let me ask you, let me go off of that and ask you, after all of this, do you think that'll change with this new generation? Because to be totally honest, who do you love more than your elder family? Like, for the, now if they're super racist, I know people might be like, okay, well, no, like, my grandfather's racist, and like, I don't deal with that. I get that. But like, let's say that your mother didn't want you to date anybody of the opposite race, or didn't care for them. Now, I love my mother to death, she would be wrong as hell, but could you stop loving your own mother? You know what I'm saying? It's hard. Like, you have these people's families telling them and beating this into their heads. Like, people that your family is all you got. So I'm just saying, if the families is teaching it, we're doomed, because this new generation is they're gonna go with that before they go with us, or they go with, post on IG.
But you know what? I think the difference between this new generation versus previous generations is just we have so much more information at our fingertips that at a certain point, it's like it's almost going to get beat into you with the truth. Like, regardless of how you might have felt about Black people 3 weeks ago, everything
you're surrounded by it.
Like if everything Black people has been saying is true, wasn't true, then everything that's been happening wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? So like, at a certain point, it's like, hey, it's going to get beat into. So I think this new generation, like, it may not have a choice the same way we kind of didn't have a choice. Like, I think I was talking to friends.
Right.
Like, I had friends that growing up, they were pretty close-minded about a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And like, now they're open to conversations. They're like, now like you can actually have a dialogue with them. And it's not because like, you know, you kept trying. It's literally because they don't have a choice. Like all the evidence is in their face. Like you just have to, at a certain point, you got to accept the truth or you're just crazy. Like that's
Yeah,
weird.
man. Like, and I agree with that. Like, and I was lucky enough with my mom that like when she came here, when she migrated to America, I think in like in the 80s, she wasn't like that because her mother was dark. My grandmother is dark as hell. like everybody in my family, other than me, my mom, and my brother, everybody is dark skinned, everybody in my family. So like my mom, she moved here and she already knew from the jump, like, okay, like that's not how you treat people. I don't care like how you look, like where you're from, that's not how you treat people. So I was lucky enough to have that in my life growing up. And I didn't have to like kind of like oppose my family and go and do my own research and be like, nah, like fuck off, like that's not how it is, because that tears apart families, you know. So so I was lucky enough that my mom wasn't like that, and I got to learn from her and her communication and her friendships with African Americans where she lived when she lives in the Bronx. So it was easy to understand, you know. So then
Right.
like, but then it became harder once you start going out of that. Like once you leave your house and you see other people in your community and your neighborhood and they feel that kind of way, and then you find yourself being the one friend that's the preacher. Like you find you find yourself being that one friend that's like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Like, fam, that's not what's happening here. And I found myself doing that a lot growing up. Like I was always the one telling people like, yo, get the fuck out of here. And I've never been afraid of that. Like since I was young, I always told people how I felt, no matter what. Shut the fuck up. That's not how it is. If you got to fight to understand it, we're gonna fight to understand it. So like, it was just certain methods you got to take with certain people. But you know, I feel like the generation after us, and funny enough, I was having that conversation earlier today. Like the early 20s, like 20 to like 24, I feel like don't give a fuck about nothing. Like the 20 to 24, don't give a fuck about shit. Like they only care about themselves right now. Yeah. But the younger ones, like the teenagers and the preteens right now, I feel like that generation is gonna be the one that could potentially be free of all of this. Like they won't have. I feel like they possibly won't be with all this because all the groundwork is being laid out now, and you see more white kids, like teenagers and preteens, like more white kids hanging out with with black friends, with Latino friends, with Middle Eastern friends. Like they're hanging out with them. Like they're adopting their community. Like they're adopting the way they dress and all that, because we're infectious. Like everybody around us, everybody sees us, like they want to be like us, like they want to talk, they want to dress like us, they want to act like us. So like I feel like the younger generation now, it's gonna be a new time. And I feel like when we're older, like in like 50, 60, 70, like I feel like we could potentially see that like they won't have to deal with that because all the groundwork has been laid out for them not to make the same mistakes that have been getting made for fucking generations. So I feel like they're lucky enough that this is happening now.
Right.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Right.
Just because, I mean, if you also think of it from the aspect of, like even like this current, like pretty much everybody from like that age range, everybody in this group, the age range, like 26 to like 30 or so. Like that age range right now, just because we're starting to get to the age where, one, we do kind of have power, not just in like with our money, but like if whatever job or career, you can parlay that into any sort of like trade, you know what I mean, to provide somebody. So like I wonder, moving forward, like we're kind of saying after COVID and after this whole thing, like when things are kind of up.
Yo, Dave, you there?
And running again, what that new normal is going to kind of be. A couple different generations. And this is like.
Right, exactly. Like what is life going to be for us? We're already in a pandemic.
Yeah.
So,
you know?
so now I have a question. I have a question for all of y'all. Throughout all of this is going on right now, it's all around the country with the protests. What do y'all feel has to change? Like what suggestions do y'all have towards this? Like what methods and steps should we take, or should our peers and city politicians, like what steps should they take in order for there to be some kind of, if not immediate change, but change in the near future?
Defund police. Defund them. Defund police. There's no way in hell that the people that work for us should be terrorizing our communities. That's just the bottom line. You know, we are the taxpayers. I think a lot of people forget the fact that police officers, the mayors, all of them niggas work for us. They work on our dollar. You know, and that's, you know, of course, that's the power of voting, as we all know. You know, that's been driven into our heads for years. You know, when you get to a point of understanding, you know, how the power of local elections, as well as, you know, the overall elections across the country. But defunding the police is like one of the major steps. Of course, that's what we're in right now. You know, George Floyd and a lot of other countless, you know, Black individuals, Latino individuals have lost their lives to police brutality. And then one way to stop that, for sure, I know, is to take their power away from them. And in order for them to have their power taken away from them, they can't have money. They can't have access to the stuff that they have access to. It makes no sense that the money that we're paying to the city of Los Angeles, that out of all of that money, I think it was like $5 billion or some shit like that that's going to LAPD, if I'm not mistaken. Why is that much money going to Los Angeles Police Department? Let me get my facts straight too, because I don't want to, you know, get people,
yeah, I know exactly
the wrong
what
info.
you're talking about. I saw the graph.
Yeah.
Like out of the whole budget, easily 95%.
$3 billion. Yeah, $3 billion.
What in the fuck are you gonna do with $3 billion?
$3 billion of the $5 billion budget is gone.
You know what you're gonna do? Kill some more people. That's exactly what you're gonna do.
They can start by getting some more of them squad cars, because a lot of them shits is fucked.
For real. They're gonna have to invest in some new fucking Jeeps.
Yeah,
but
it's just like
that's like one of the go ahead. No, go ahead, Kevin. What you gotta say?
I just think to be honest, like at first I was just on some, well, you know, people in general gotta change, but battling racism as a whole in America is, to me, one thing. But then battling racism within the judicial system, that's where all of this really comes from. Because if somebody comes up to you and calls you, you know, a name on the street, it's almost like this day and age, depending on the person, you can look at them and laugh, or you can beat their ass, or you can do a series of things. But
or you can do both.
But first, you know, in no specific order, you can beat their ass. But when you start to get like these people of color, like these black guys in law school right now, you see all these pics on Instagram with everybody got their suits on, all these 10 brothers just graduated law school. You wouldn't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, when are they gonna get their fair shot at going at the title? When are we gonna get some black people on the Supreme Court? When are we gonna have the main judge in Atlanta, or the judge in Philly that prosecuted Meek was black? So it's just like, we hurting ourselves with the self-hate too sometimes. But with that actor that John Boyega just finished, I think that's what he was trying to say, but it came at the absolute wrong time. And he had this
who you talking about, Shamik Moore or John Boyega?
Yeah, from what I heard, the brief, I didn't hear everything Shamik said, but from brief where he was like, we got to do better. Yeah.
I'll tell you what Shamik said.
We've been screaming we got to do better for years. We can't do better if we don't have no fair shot. It starts with them. And they're always going to have this thing in their mind of how they see us. And as long as they see us a certain way, they're going to treat us a certain way. There's no way in hell he should have had his knee on George Floyd's neck for that long. And the thing that they really brought up to me, and that he was looking into the camera. The camera is to incriminate you doing a criminal act, which he was doing, right? And he just looked like, okay, I'm going to get off. You know, I'm going to get off.
He put his fucking hands in his pocket.
Yeah, he was chilling.
He was chilling. Like at that point, he was just taking a seat. At that point, it was like he was relaxing.
That adds sarcasm to the mix. So you cannot say to me that he didn't have no remorse and he didn't care.
Bro, you know
what I'm saying?
He knew him for like 17 years. George Floyd worked.
Right. So that's why
he was a bouncer there.
You said
knew him for 17 years.
How did he know him again? Elaborate, just because I don't know.
George Floyd worked as a bouncer.
He was a bouncer.
He was where he died. George Floyd was a bouncer there, and that cop like obviously works in the area. So I guess that cop was just familiar with him, either as a bouncer or either just working that street. So they knew each other.
Yeah,
See, and
man.
it's a whole bunch of different things. Someone said that they were actual co-workers, like, and I'm just like, come on. Everybody wants to just
Yeah.
add to the fire,
It's
and
always a
everybody's
spin.
missing it. Like, you know, it's always a spin, but it's like we can't have our cake and eat it too. We want people that's not of color to support us and march with us and stand with us. But then when they do, when they post these little black images, now it's not good enough, which I personally think I've seen a lot of people posting these little black squares and, you know, they want to be with us in solidarity, but I think it's just their own self-defense. I'm sorry. Not everybody,
is.
but I think
Most
for
most
sure,
of it is.
most of them, and I've seen some people that I follow, which they're getting tightened up after this, would just post on their story. Like, fuck your aesthetic, first of all. You know what I'm saying? Fuck your followers. Fuck how your IG looks. Fuck all of that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to post it on your story. I get that. But the
I
thing about
archived
it
my
is,
whole goddamn IG just so that could be the only thing that people see when they click
you
on
know,
my profile.
and the thing about it is, it's just like, but now who are we? Because at the end of the day, yeah, we might know it, but now we're assuming. Well, they're already doing what we want. You know what I'm saying? And I just think it's not the time to go after nonsense, but that's just some stuff that I've been seeing. And I think people are really trying to save face right now, and when it's really some real shit going on.
Sure. Because I'll say, I've noticed personally, because I think that honestly, if you're not a black person and you don't want to say something, you're not comfortable saying something, and
Right.
you like, I'm not mad at you. Like, it's really not your place to do that. Truthfully, and honestly, even if you are a black person and you don't feel comfortable doing anything, like, it's like whatever. If that's you, then that's you. Like, it's not my choice, right? But that being said, I feel like if you do choose to say or do something, don't make it no weak shit. Like okay, this has been going on for like years, obviously, but let's just talk about the last few days. And the first mention we get from you personally is a little black image on Insta, or you know what I mean, just like a little quick thing to
Right.
and you know what I mean, and God knows you're gonna take it down like tomorrow. To me, like, that's a bit disrespectful. Like, I'd rather you just shut the fuck up and not say
Just
nothing.
not talk at all. I said that in the chat. I've been saying that for the longest. I think we all can attest to. We don't want black people historically, allyship and shit like that. People coming from non-black people and black people, we're always gonna be leery of allyship because it ain't always worked out for us. So we're always gonna.
I think a lot of these people we caught at the right time. Right place, right time.
What you say?
Man,
what you gonna say, Jimmy?
You know what I'm saying?
Like, it surprised me from just being out in protests in the last few days. Like, how many different people are there? Like, like when I went out there the first day, I was like, oh shit, all right, cool. I'm gonna walk out here. It's gonna be a sea of black people. It's just gonna be nothing but black people, bro. You go out there,
right?
There is fucking Asians, Middle Eastern. You have Mexicans. You have white people, and it was like, yo, white people really showed out, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, and a lot of people feel like a certain kind of way towards like all white people, but just after all of these protests and shit, seeing them do the things that they've done in the protests, like, yo, white people, I've seen them do it here. I've seen it on the news. Like, they're forming a line in front of police and telling them to get to them, you have to go through us. And they're like,
I saw them.
They're locking arms in front of police and having stare downs with them. And if you want to get to them, you got to go through us. Like, they're putting their lives on the line in order to make a point. Like, you guys don't shoot us and don't treat us like how you treat them. So in order to get to them and mistreat them, you got to mistreat us. And I have a lot of respect for that. I seen them do a lot of shit that I didn't expect them to do, to be honest. I didn't know there was that many white people that was down for this. I had no fucking idea. And I have a newfound respect for those that I seen out there.
For the ones who are doing something.
Yes,
right.
The ones that are out there fighting the fight.
To add to that, because I see Dixon up there in the corner of my phone, I see the look on his face. I know he has a conspiracy theory. He got his bandana on too.
Oh, I got
there he is.
Oh, you the
piece.
Lamo or something?
But no, to Jimmy's point, over the past few days, and then of course being out there on Saturday, being out there days afterwards, even just going out, even if you weren't actually out there protesting, just seeing the sea of people and knowing that it wasn't only black people out there doing all of the heavy lifting that we normally have to do, even though this is about black people. Like, and I do want that something to be very clear. This, niggas who want to, or people rather, who want to try to like separate this as oh, this is a human problem, yada yada yada. Okay, whatever. That's kind of like you're like all lives matter in it a little bit. This is a black issue that black people have been dealing with for literal centuries.
Which is almost disrespectful if you just say human issue and all human lives matter. Come on.
That's a very exactly. That's a very
and it's safe. It's playing it safe.
Exactly.
And just a quick point here that I want to make.
Yeah.
One thing I've seen come up a lot, and it's bothering the shit out of me throughout all of this, is the Mexican people. And any Mexican listeners out there, when this comes out, viewers, listeners, all of y'all motherfuckers. The ones out there saying, like, oh, where was the black support when ICE was deporting us? All you gotta do is type on the internet, and you can see there was black people rooting for y'all too, motherfucker.
Oh, bruh.
Exactly. That's all you have to do. Yeah.
So if you out there, if you're Mexican and you out there complaining that, oh, where was our support when they was deporting our families? All you literally have to do is go on Google, and you could do your research, and you'll see black people was out there with you, making sure that ICE wasn't taking your fucking family. So stop that fucking stupid ass ignorant shit. And in Chicago, to all my Chicago listeners out there and followers, that bullshit that's going on out there with the police paying the Latin Kings to attack black people, y'all gotta put a fucking stop to that shit. That's some bullshit.
ASAP. I saw that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's the fucking police paying them over there so they can attack black people that come into the neighborhoods. And y'all gotta fucking go talk to them, because that's some bullshit. If you right now during all of this are taking money and are being bribed by the people that will kill you once this is over,
easily,
you got a lot of fucking thinking to fucking do in your life.
Sucker shit,
that's some and with that, bro, historically black people we've always fought our fight, and historically we've always fought other people's fights. I mean, because we're the people who, when you need to lean on somebody, you need someone to go to for advice or for prayer, for whatever it might be, whatever you're seeking. Black people have always been the people there to kind of try to steer the ship. So when people say, black people have been through the most, so they know how to navigate through all situations. Bottom line. Other races, like, that's what I don't understand, when like other races of people feel a certain kind of way towards black people when they're being unjust to you as well. Like, all you got to do is go to black people and see how they navigate situations, so you know how to navigate through situations as well. That's why I don't understand fucking racism from other people that aren't white. I don't understand it. Like, if you're fucking Middle Eastern, if you're Latino, all of that kind of shit, guess what? If you're Middle Eastern, remember when you was being called a terrorist, and you're still being called a terrorist to this day? Who should you go to see how to move through the system? Who should you pair up with? Exactly. Mexicans, they're deporting your people. All Latinos, not just Mexicans, all Latinos. They're deporting your people. They're doing all the shit to your people. Who should you go talk to? That's my point, man. Like, this shit makes no sense to turn against the people that will be there for you when all this shit is said and done. So this shit makes no fucking sense. We're such a forgiving people, bro. We always want to, it's just historically, we always try to find the good in everybody, even the people who literally will wrong you at the very given chance. You know what I mean? But Dixon, bro, I see you up there. I know I see it coming out of the goddamn.
It's fuming.
Bandana. It's fuming. What do you have?
What you got over
there?
there?
He goes, Invisible Man.
Nah, so I was talking to Corey over the weekend, and he had asked me if I was going to go to the protest. The Black Lives Matter one on, what was it, Saturdays? Friday, Saturday?
Yeah, that was the official one on Saturday.
Yeah, the official one. He asked me if I was going to go, and I said I was kind of on the fence because I kind of had an issue with Black Lives Matter LA, and I just wasn't super duper comfortable with them. You know what I mean? Just that I found I noticed something in the most recent election that made me a little concerned about that particular movement.
And what was that? Let the people know. Elaborate.
I'm gonna elaborate. So in the most recent election, the district attorney for Los Angeles, that seat was up. The current district attorney is Jackie Lacey. Yeah. She's been district attorney for years. So obviously, any unarmed black person that's been killed in any amount of these years and the cops have not been prosecuted, she's been a district attorney not to prosecute. You know what I mean?
And for listeners out there, Dixon, I'm gonna let you get right back to it. For listeners and viewers out there, she's been in power for a long time, and that's 601, I believe, black people who've been shot and killed by police officers since 2012. Under her watch, y'all. This is under her watch.
Under her watch. And I should say, and this is not holding anything against her, but I should say she's a black woman. Okay?
Right.
Anything else I'm about to say? Jackie Lacey is a black woman. Okay. That seat is up.
That name tells everything too.
So Black Lives Matter launches essentially a campaign against her. You know what I mean? Telling people to make sure anybody that votes that particular day don't vote for Jackie Lacey for a lot of obvious reasons. All of this protesting culminates in Black Lives Matter showing up to her front door on election day at 5 a.m. about 2 hours before a scheduled meeting that she scheduled with them to protest.
I remember that.
Her husband came out with a
I remember that.
and said, "You guys need to get off my lawn, or somebody's getting shot." And then showed his gun and then went back inside. She won the election actually too. But yeah,
outrageous.
Right? So
outrageous.
I remember that story.
Black Lives Matter is going against this woman. Her opponent, right? Because at no point do they endorse anybody in this race. Her opponent is a man named Jorge Guzman. He's from San Francisco. He was district attorney in San Francisco also for years. He was a well-known cop sympathizer for years. He's also an alleged racist. People allege alleged. In some private meeting, he may or may not have
that shit.
Wildly racist about black people.
He did that shit.
He did that shit.
No such thing as an alleged racist. And I could have my facts wrong, but please look up Jorge Guzman and tell me how wrong I am.
We always have our facts wrong. That means we have our facts right.
Exactly. But no, yeah.
Miseducated podcast.
Yeah. So he's district attorney in San Francisco for years, right? Last October, randomly decides, I don't want to be district attorney in San Francisco anymore. I want to go run in Los Angeles.
I want to go to Los Angeles.
About a month or two later, Black Lives Matter starts going crazy with this campaign against Jackie Lacey without endorsing anybody. My personal issue with that whole thing is that the other person who I have to look up didn't have as much money back in it as Jorge Guzman or Jackie Lacey. That said, you know what I mean? Anybody going to the voting booth, if they didn't want to vote for Jackie Lacey, might have just checked off that Jorge Guzman box. And then we'd be
just right.
Boom. You know what I'm saying? So my issue was them, you know what I mean, launching such a vicious campaign against her. You know what I mean? And then acting like the options were not way worse for comparison's sake. That's my conspiracy.
Right.
I just gave y'all the facts. You know what I mean? Like I gave y'all my personal views too. So I don't know if they were personally doing it for Jorge Guzman, but these are the facts that I didn't see, and I wasn't a fan of it. That's why I didn't initially go.
So are you suggesting to vote for the other man to get her out of office?
So what?
Are you suggesting to vote for the other district attorney to make sure that she gets out of office?
Essentially. So what I'm suggesting is, if you're just a regular person, you don't know too much about politics, you just know you want to go vote, you know that you support Black Lives Matter, you know you support whatever else, and people tell you exactly whomever to vote for. And all you've been hearing from Black Lives Matter is don't vote for Jackie Lacey. And even right now, there's only reason I even know this nigga's name is because there's a billboard for him in Ladera. If you drive up Slauson,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Slauson is a big billboard for this Jorge Guzman. But all you know is that you've seen this other name and you don't recognize the third name. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the automatic. It's like by launching a campaign against somebody without endorsing anybody else, you're leaving people that will not do the research to just check off whatever box.
To just check out, right.
And whenever box is somebody that they're two people they're not familiar with, but one of which is a racist with bad money backing them, the more likely choice is going to be the racist with money backing them, right? Than a nigga that has no money backing them. So then you're left with,
as always,
exactly, a way worse DA. And you know, when people wonder how the fuck this even happened, nobody's going to look at obviously that movement because they didn't endorse it. Now, once again, that's my personal. I could be obviously completely wrong about that. That might not have been their intent whatsoever. Maybe they saw the list of niggas running and were like, yeah, we won't endorse anybody. We just don't want her in office. That could have been it. I'm not a personal fan of it. And that's why, once again, I didn't initially go because I wasn't super sure about that particular sector of that person.
So back to the original question, which was, no, because the original question was, what suggestions and ideas do you have in order to go from here, from where we are now? Because where we are now, the relationship between police and civilians is never going to be the same. From now, what's going on now in the entire country, and how everybody else views it, relationship will never be the same. So, like,
unless you just get lucky enough to have be around and have an officer or patrolman in your neighborhood that's already has his relationship with the community, and you know they make it known, because it's a lot of good police videos where, you know, you'll see them out there and they're just like, listen, we're just here to make sure nobody gets hurt, da 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 da. I feel like we've done so much like damage, not physically, but like in the literal sense. Like, you have to listen to us now. You have to listen to us. Like, Fifth Ave burned. Like, Rodeo Drive got touched. Like, one of my good friends, y'all know Jairus, he was like, when some of these prosecutors and DAs and judges' families start getting snatched out of their cribs and knees putting on their necks, then that's when they're gonna listen. But as far as fixing the everyday person, no, we have to infiltrate the inside. Like, but then you ask the Black community, who wants to be a cop these days? It's so frowned upon that the very thing career that could change your community is frowned on by your same community. You know what I'm saying?
Because of the constant abuse that comes from them. So you don't want to be known as that. So that
exactly. But imagine if there was a 30% shift with more minorities as cops. You mean to tell me after all of this?
Yeah, they don't really matter, Kev. I'm gonna be honest, because a lot of these Black cops, a lot of these Latino cops, if you represent this badge, bro, we already know historically what the police department was what they were put here for. And I'm gonna speak for, especially after this call that I was on today, for fucking hours that I was there, them niggas do not care at all. They don't care. They barely even flinched the times the people were bringing up some of the coldest facts, stuff that I had never even heard about from the city of Los Angeles. Didn't flinch, didn't even goddamn bat an eye. So nationwide, and then shit, what was that in Atlanta? Those two Black cops that hemmed up that Black couple and the one who went to like Morehouse and
no
Spelman.
sense, man.
Oh,
bro,
yeah, when they
tell me.
them.
Yeah, there are those. To your point, I know we all know, man. Everybody in this country, in this world with a conscience, knows that there are probably some people who join the police force who aren't bad people. But bro, you put on that badge, you put on that uniform, and you represent something, bro, that historically does not give a shit about people of color. Period. That's bottom line. So your niggas is always gonna look at you sideways
in its entirety.
It's nuts. Yeah,
I'm gonna correct myself. I didn't start it from the beginning. I thought it was a joke when they showed that it was the white woman in the car in front, and it was just like screaming and putting a peace sign, like she knew she was fine. And they literally stopped them right afterwards. When I saw that part, I said, this literally is still happening in front of everybody's eyes, and they don't really notice.
Did you see the thing with the shop owners? There was like two shop owners they called the cops.
Black owned.
Yeah. And then they tried to arrest
and they arrested them. And with the people screaming that you have the wrong people.
If this shit was not real, you would have thought it was like
you would think it's
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it was so clear.
Right. But to your question,
clear as day.
I think really the only way this shit changes is one of two things. Like, I think either in the long term, like, you make cops like you have to be in school or like go through years of training before you can even think about touching a badge and dying. Like, make it like being a doctor. Like, you got to serve a residency for some type of years, and man, you can go out on the street and like you're by yourself. Like just make them have to work that much. I think if you make them have to work that much to want to be a cop, one, only people that are going to become cops are people that absolutely truly want to uphold the justice system, and then two, that'll give them more than enough time to see all sides of the law. You know what I'm saying? Like, they won't have to be stuck in whatever thing they got within 2 to 3 week period. But I think in the short term, the only thing you could do is like, on my back, the only thing you could do is make the cops now like it would be beautiful if every mayor of every city was told every cop, like, yo, instead of going out with the rubber bullets and all that shit, like, just walk in front of the protesters, and no matter what the fuck these niggas say, you just try to listen. You know what I'm saying? Try to listen as long as you can. And I don't care if it irritates you, I don't care if it hurts you, just try to listen for even longer than you can. You know what I'm saying? Until
I'm
like,
not a cop. I've never been a cop, but there's protocol. There's protocol. So there's no way they couldn't do exactly that. Go in there and listen. If somebody acts up, there's protocol for it. These guys went to the academy, they're trained. Yes, with the looting and the riots, that's just chaos, and you have to act accordingly. But don't come to peaceful protests and act like that we're out here just causing a shit show, and we're just gonna tell you to get back, and we're gonna spit on you, we're gonna shove you to the ground and shit like that. Like, no. And it's crazy that we're all thinking, like, I just really noticed what I said out of my own mouth. What are we gonna do to change? And the first thing I did was jet and say, well, you know, these young black kids coming up don't want to be cops. Who knows if they want to be judges? Why is it that we have to literally have our own on the panels and judges and prosecutors, DAs, police officers for shit to change? When is what should have been is, okay, so let's see, are we gonna get an actual anybody in there that's just not corrupt? If that makes sense, you know? But it's crazy because I was thinking about it, and it's just like a no hope kind of situation. That's the first thing I jumped to. But touching back on what Jimmy said, like, it's a lot of white, Asian, Hispanic, like any on our side, and it's shocking. I don't know why. Maybe it's somewhere LA, it's a melting pot, but I'm seeing protests everywhere, all across the world right now. Paris really shocked me because Paris racist as fuck. But
son, as soon as I seen Salt Lake City light up a precinct, I was like, oh shit, the Mormons are turning up.
Right. The Mormons are turning up. All the King's horsemen and all the King's wives.
Yeah.
We're fucking out there. There's 7 cheaper by the dozen 3. But yeah, man, like I wanna, it's so sickening, man. Like, some of the most treacherous shit that we talked about in past seasons doesn't hold a candle to this.
No, it's a fact,
doesn't hold a
bro.
candle to this. You know, and it's just like, damn, like Jason Mitchell, like he was in the hot seat. But now it's just like,
Jason Mitchell, we still haven't forgotten about you either, nigga. But we'll be back.
A video comes out of Jason Mitchell on the front lines, like Kendrick Sampson was. Oh, he's getting his shit together. He's all for the cause. This is a shot at redemption.
I think he's in jail though. I think Jason Mitchell got arrested for something. I think so. Yeah, I think he got arrested.
I do think he got hemmed up. I do think he got hemmed up in like somewhere in New Orleans or something like that. I think. No, I think Jimmy right.
I think he had like a
David
brick on
David voice. How do we even get here?
Yeah, right. So, what you think, Jimmy? To answer your question, Jimmy, what is your what are some solutions that you have to fucking for this shit? It's a lot. It's a whole lot. What's some
like
solutions?
certain things like that I was thinking about was like how David said, like extensive, comprehensive training, and not just and not just go to the academy for like however long you go to the academy, which obviously isn't long enough.
25 days. That's how much it comes out to. I heard it on the call today. It takes
25 days.
It takes people 25. It takes them 25 days to become an official Los Angeles Police Department officer.
Okay, so you have 25 days to become an officer. That definitely has to be at least a semester. That at least has to be 3, 4, 5 months of fucking academia for you to learn something. Like put them in certain situations and see how they react prior to them being police, as opposed to when they get police, they get put in a certain situation and they react irrationally. So start training these guys in a sense that while they're training still in the academy, put them in certain situations, like put other cops like undercover and have them do things and see how they react to certain kind of things. And depending on how their reaction is, then you know exactly where to go from there. And from their reactions and their actions, you'll be able to tell exactly what kind of cop they will be. So,
Jimmy, you ready?
What's up?
I want to let you finish, but I'm just saying I have something that's going to be glorious because you said it earlier. I'm going to let you finish. Keep going. I'm going to bring it up.
Another thing is like cops currently in the force in every state, they have to go through everybody, the district attorneys, everybody, the human rights people in every single state, check every single police, even the chief, check all their records. If they have any kind of violence towards anyone, I don't care who it is, throw them the fuck out immediately.
Right.
Any kind of violence, because he had one violent, just like the cop that killed George Floyd. That wasn't his first offense. He had harmed already 3 African Americans, and they kept him in the force. They've been hiding them. So check every single record of every single police in every department across the country. And if they have any kind of violent act, one, I don't care, half a violent act, you watched your partner do something to somebody, throw them the fuck out. They're no good, because they're gonna continue to fucking do that shit and to hide shit. And that's one way to start eliminating things. Another one is when, let's say, said cop commits a certain kind of crime towards a civilian, take it out of all of their pensions. Take it out of all their fucking pensions, because once you start hurting all of their pockets, then they'll probably start holding each other accountable. There was a video I saw, because at the end of the day, money and power come down to everything. That's all it boils down to, just fucking money and power. So if you start taking money away from their pensions, percentages, not like I'm gonna take $100 away from this shit. No, you take fucking percentages of that shit. And there was a video that surfaced on the internet, I think yesterday. It was during these protests. I think it was in New York. 2 cops threw down a kid onto the floor. They were arresting him. And I noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed from watching the news, I feel like cops all over the country, in solidarity with the fucking bozo from Minnesota that killed
They're
George
doing
Floyd.
it. I know exactly what you're about to say.
They're kneeling on people's necks that they arrest. I don't know if I'm the only one that noticed that, but
I haven't.
They're doing it in solidarity, and it's some fucking bullshit. So like, there was one video I saw. One of them put his knee behind a kid's neck that he was arresting. His
partner had to stop him.
Yup, his partner shoved him. He was like, no, not here. Like, I don't know what that situation is like there, but the officer that removed his partner's leg from that kid's neck, we need to find him and talk to him.
Yeah.
Because, all right, what made you want to do that? Was it the bad press that he was going to get from it, or are you genuinely concerned for this person's life? Because because now that can lead to something else. That can lead to something more positive. Because he didn't give a fuck. He moved that man's leg the way the fuck out of there. He was like,
because he probably thought cameras was rolling. I hate to think that was the only reason, but if that's been your partner, you know that he's about that. And the thing that I wanted to elaborate on is, if they gonna keep doing this, you think it's worse now? I don't know if I know y'all been watching the news. NYPD officers, I don't know why it's not funny, but it is. They've been getting ran the fuck over.
Yes.
So you think for a second.
Wow.
That's okay. So just hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
What if, while we're protesting, and I can't even say what if because it has, they killed more black people in the process?
I'm about to say they are, and they have.
You know what I'm saying?
You know that gentleman.
You know how much that fuels the fire for us?
Yeah.
So the fact that these motherfuckers already have a dick swinging contest on a daily, pause, never going back. But we're talking about the feds, double entendre. But you think that they're not going to
You were finished.
Wow. That was the greatest save ever. I'm mad at
you really think for a second that they're not going to really try to just get off and get revenge? The officers that were there to see their fellow officer get ran the fuck over, they're not going to go out to the next protest. They probably can't wait. I'm snatching somebody tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's a war now.
Well, to that point, Kev, niggas are doing that. I mean, I think I've seen it a lot. I've even put it in a chat where, if you can listen in on, man, anything involving these police officers is public records. Even you can fucking even get into their fucking what's the little police scanners, the videos, their radios. You hear them niggas over there talking nut shit, talking about like, oh, okay, if you shoot a black person, niggas were taking bets on the amount of blacks and Latinos that they can arrest and or shoot.
What?
It was like $100 bets too. They was making like however much you get like a few $100 for doing that shit.
200 if you kill them,
son. And in the beginning of all of this, I kept saying, once New York gets involved in this, it's just gonna take a bad turn, because NYPD and its residents, they've been waiting for this. They've been New York residents have been waiting to put their hands on police. Like, there was a video yesterday just in my hood over there in the Bronx in Fordham.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah, you
video
posted it.
There was one cop, he got caught dolo, and 3 kids went and fucked him up, and one of them got like some kind of TV and hit him over the head with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw
like
that shit.
Hey, yo, we
caught
fucked 12 up, nigga.
No,
I
for
saw
real,
that
like,
video. That shit was, bro,
they
tears
caught
to
him
my
dolo.
eyes.
They caught him dolo. They fucked him up in the
And he
Bronx.
tried to pull a little gun out after the fact.
Yeah, he tried to shoot him, and it was a wrap.
I mean,
It was a whole rap.
Any nigga that get jumped, if he got a gun on him, he gonna try to pull it after the fact. So
Yeah,
I'm not even mad at the cop.
but
That's bold though, because he could have easily reached for that joint. They
Yeah,
was
he could've,
fucking him up. And
yeah, they've been waiting for that. There was the other one of the cop that got ran over, and he's probably tucked right now. That was in the Bronx too. He tried to stop. They parked in the middle of the street and tried to stop people from running. Whoever was driving that car, whoever that was, I hope they don't find you, because if they do find you, bro, oh man,
Oh boy.
but I hope they don't find you. But he ran that motherfucker over. He took him out. And this has been shit that's been boiling up for a long time, especially in LA and New York. Like, people been waiting for moments to put their hands on police. They've been waiting for this shit.
I think NYPD has, I saw, like $35,000, not $35,000, 35,000 officers in New York City alone. New York City is massive, as we already know. 35,000 officers is a lot of motherfucking officers to have.
That is a lot of fucking officers.
That's a lot of officers, even though in the city of, you know,
and they already became officers for a reason of their own. You know, like, what makes you want to become an officer? You know what I'm saying? You want to. There's like a lot of different things. One, the most common one is, you know, you might have short person syndrome. You might have you never got no cheeks when you was little, and you just want to tell motherfuckers what to do.
Napoleon complex, yeah.
True. That all plays a part.
What you say, Dave?
I was saying earlier about these niggas not even the cops not even living in the neighborhoods or the communities. I was reading James Mangold, the director. He did Wolverine and did a bunch of other movies, but he was mentioning a movie that he made about cops, and he was saying that he wanted to set the movie in New York, and he wanted to have all the cops in the movie, like, that worked in the city of New York, all live in this suburban town. You know what I mean? Like, they all lived outside of New York, but they all commuted into, like, the boroughs, you know what I mean, to be cops. And the reason he said he wanted to do it is because, you know, he grew up in a town like that, and it's realistic. Like, he's like, this is exactly how it is. Like, none of these niggas live in it. Apparently, Harvey Weinstein was in charge of producing the movie at the time. He's cool with a lot of niggas from NYPD. These niggas work hard to make sure that he don't do that in the movie. It's like his first little movie.
Oh, I'm sure he's cool with a lot of niggas in NYPD and LAPD. I'm positive.
But he was just saying how crazy it is to think that a majority of the cops that work in these big cities don't live anywhere near these big cities. And so
they don't. They live in Elizabeth City.
That creates like an idea of like, okay, I live in the suburbs and I'm trying to contain all the problems in the city so they never bleed back into, like, you know what I mean, the suburbs. So like everybody that you interact with in the city is just like a pest, and like it's a menace that you got to get rid of. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such
I hear police sirens outside of my window right now. It's just,
brother.
It's just.
I told you earlier.
And another thing that's important, like, just to finalize the change, like, our projected changes, like, another thing that's important is, like, vote for local politicians. Like, don't worry about the president. That's going to be fucked up for a long time. But if everybody in their respective states takes time to, like, learn about the people that are running for mayor, for fucking senator, for governor, for like city president, like city council, things like that, make sure you get the right people involved, and make sure you get the right people in those offices, because those people at one point in their lives, they want to be part of Senate. They want to be in DC. So if it starts in your city, that can lead to Washington, DC at some point.
Very true.
Who knows how long that's going to take, but they all eventually want to end up there. So if we start local and we build our own cities and states the way that we want it to be ran by the people that we want to be in charge of the states, then maybe that could potentially lead to change. Because one thing I've noticed from just doing a lot of research, like reading, watching TV shows, like just the Wire is a perfect TV show to, like, watch and understand how the inner workings of politicians and police work. Like,
them niggas are trash.
Because a lot of people don't know that David Simon, I think the other creators, Ed Burns, David Simon used to work for the Baltimore Sun, so he used to write about corruption, and Ed Burns used to be like police chief or something. So these are actual real stories that they're putting into the show. So and that's why everything seems so real.
So
like,
real.
Like, for example, like how I think it was Kevin or David that mentioned it, or David, the DA, the black lady, how she's just in LA, how she's just throwing people in jail. Like, her connections to LAPD is probably so fucking crazy that she can't make any moves without letting LAPD know exactly what she's gonna do, and they dictate exactly what she does. And that also goes for the mayor. That goes for the governors. Like, those people are all in cahoots together, and the mayor chooses the police chief. So if we choose the right mayor, we get the right police chief.
Exactly. Garcetti, you gotta resign. I don't even know how to
Garcetti gotta get
you have to resign. You have to resign, and police chief.
And it's so crazy because when he was talking about coronavirus, you almost thought he cared about us. When he was talking about coronavirus, you know, oh yeah, he's issuing this, he's issuing that. Like, he really cares. Then it gets where it comes to like black folk, and it's like, oh, now we have to see that he cares more about motherfucking coronavirus than actually nigga, people getting killed.
This nigga shut down testing centers. That you're finished. You are finished. You're finished for appointing the police chief that you've appointed, and all of the shit that's happened. One has happened under Jackie Lacey's not prosecuting killer cops. Prosecute killer cops. Two, the police chief who's been in charge has also let this shit fly. Who appointed the police chief? Mayor Eric Garcetti. You got to resign, motherfucker.
Like,
you have to resign.
God.
Even if he doesn't resign, the very next election, this nigga's up. Every black person in every minority really in Los Angeles, it will go.
Getting him out of the paint.
They will vote for anybody, bro. Most literally.
Shit, they'll fucking vote for. People now will vote for a fucking dolphin as long as he's out of
Sandra Bullock.
Yo,
Sandy Bullock.
Like, I'll take it. Man,
Sandra Bullock runs for anything. Everybody's running it. Just because of The Blind Side.
No, it's true though, man. At this point, people will take anybody over Garcetti. Like, after what he did with closing down centers because he didn't like the way police was treated, you chose your side. Yeah. You chose your side exactly when you did that. So fuck you. You can have your house broken into now. Fuck you.
Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, and this nigga's not too far from neither one of us, because when niggas marched to his crib today, I put the shit in my maps. I'm like, damn, that nigga lives walking distance.
No, he's close, man. I didn't even know that.
Yo, Kev, he is close.
Shit, I would have thought homie lived like in the hills. I thought he lived in the hills.
He actually lives near Maxine Waters. All of them live near each other. They're not all far from each other.
They some old goddamn
Maxine Waters
dinner on Sunday.
And this shit is public. This shit is, for you viewers out there, this is public record. We not exposing no niggas' addresses and neighborhoods. These niggas are public officials. You know why they're public officials? Because they work for us. We pay them.
They live in Hancock Park, huh?
Mm-hmm. That's where they live. That's where they are.
Oh, Hancock Park ass.
If you want to find them, you know exactly where the fuck to find them.
Right next to Ricky Ricardo.
Now you're finished. You're finished. No, but hey, yo, there was somebody said something earlier. We can move on. When you were talking, I think Kev was talking about being from the East Coast. Dixon's been in SoCal his whole life. You know, whether that be Hemet, whether that be LA, wherever the fuck it is, he's
moved around so much.
He's been here.
Bless his heart.
He's the journeyman of the podcast.
You niggas know, bro. Where I'm from, man, and y'all know how niggas are with guns there. Whenever, as like growing up, I've always known and I've always heard that, you know, especially within the black community and other minorities, the best way to police officers is to shoot them first before they shoot you. I'm not making this up. This is not me just saying shit. And and I'm saying that to make another point, and it's gonna circle back to LA. When I was on the call today, bro, and the shit was so nuts. Like, I sat there for 5 hours, nigga. I was in the queue. Them niggas, like, you have to raise your hand. I raised my hand so many times, and they kept putting the shit down until I finally got to it. And then they were like, yeah, you need a newer version of Zoom, so we're gonna have to skip over you in 2 weeks. Bro, they had so much bullshit. It was ridiculous. But there was this one Latino guy who called, and he was, of course, he was basically saying like, "Hey, one, as we all know, police chief, stop saying this nigga needs to be resigned. He needs to be fired. Don't get this nigga no pension, no benefits, none of that shit. He needs to be fired." But some nigga called and said, the best way that we can police LAPD is by getting our own guns. And guess what I did today? I went and got my own gun. He said that shit on, like, live on Zoom. The shit was so crazy. The shit was so crazy to hear, bro. It's like, damn, niggas are on these Zoom calls. Niggas are actually, like, people are so fed up that they're adopting something that I grew up hearing all of the time. Like, in order to protect yourself from niggas who want to pull you over and pop you, you pop them first. Hearing that shit today, it just took me back to all of the stuff I heard growing up. So just knowing that LAPD is people even said, they grew up in areas where, of course, gangs, MS-13, they were not really worried about them. They were worried about LAPD.
I drove past two guys spray painting MS-13. Bro, oh my God, hold on. I really just remember this. Me and Chris is driving, and we see two guys tagging MS-13 on the side of the building, right? And once I see MS-13, I'm sorry, I froze like, oh shit, like that's not just anything. Bro, these two guys turned around and saw us in the car, and they threw their fist up. I lie to you not. I was shocked.
I was surprised.
That's fine.
It's
niggas fed up, bro. Man. Niggas fed up, bro.
That shit's
a crazy time.
Crazy, bro.
And it's unfortunate that every major change that happens in this country, let alone this world, Black people have to be the catalyst for the shit. We have to be the niggas who have to essentially go through the turmoil in order for changes to happen. So later on down the years, hopefully, of course, this is just us being optimistic, niggas won't have to deal with it as much. But it sucks that we have to be the niggas who have to essentially endure the most in order for changes to happen. I don't know why people just can't be decent, good human beings and not do shit to us that they've been doing. But,
It's because we lead the culture, man. We lead everything that moves. Like, minorities move the country. If we don't spend $1, the country goes bankrupt. If we don't go to work, companies don't run. So, like, I mean, you have to respect the people that build the shit. If we build, I see a lot of people complaining about like rioting and looting and all that kind of shit. My thing is, we fucking built this country. We could burn it down, motherfucker. If that's what it takes for you to listen to us.
Wow.
That's very true.
That's true. That's how I view it. We put this shit up. We're gonna bring it right back down. If that's what it means to sit down with us and talk about what the fuck we want. So
they need to call Chadwick Boseman out here. If anybody can save us.
Hey, yo, speaking of
21 Bridges, shut this whole shit down.
Well, speaking of the Black Panther, hey, yo, all you celebrity niggas out there, oh, boy, you niggas have been showing your ass for years, but now is not the time to fuck up. Tokyo Jets, that chick that is signed to T.I. Oh, wow, fucking... Who would have thunk? You are from Dallas, you and B. Simone, all you niggas out there who saying all this little nut shit, Tokyo Jets saying that you gonna George Floyd, whoever the fuck you was talking to.
Oh my God, I saw that video. That was disgusting.
Like, you're nuts. And B. Simone trying to rely on the Lord during this time. You know what Jesus would be doing right now? This nigga would be out there, goddamn, almost getting tucked too. So shut up. Well,
son, they literally killed Jesus for doing what we doing.
Yeah.
They literally killed him for doing what we doing. He did the same shit.
Who for the people who don't know, who the hell is B. Simone? Okay.
She's old girl. I think she's old girl from Wild 'N Out. She's one of the newer cast members of Wild 'N Out. I think
didn't she also get? I'm almost for certain she probably got some type of clout in the internet streets from Vine. I think.
Yeah, it was like social. It was social media first, and then she got Wild 'N Out. So she's like super corny. I never thought she was funny. She's like extra loud and shit. So it's like, yo,
Wild 'N Out is the Black Dancing with the Stars. Once you go in there, you're finished.
Yeah.
You're
Oh
the
yeah,
fuck out of it.
Emmanuel Hudson, you're finished too. Like it's a few of you niggas on Wildin' Out who are actually.
Wait, hold on, wait. So
Nah,
wait, so
not as a host, as a cast member for sure. Yeah, you going wild and out and you like an old nigga.
Yeah, you're finished.
No, I'm saying if you're already a part of the cast, that's your job. I'm talking about these new people that keep going here. Like, you're gonna turn to Wildin' Out. Like, you're finished. Like, Conceited, he's never gonna be finished because he's Conceited. He's from New York. But if, let's say, Conceited was from Alabama, he'd just be some country funny nigga that needs to shut the fuck up, right?
no, it's true though. It's true though.
We
No,
kind
but,
of went left, and I don't want to get my ass whooped.
No.
But I'm
It's
just
no.
saying
It's
Conceited is
good,
actually
that's
tough
no,
because he can rap.
good. You're good though, but it circles back because we do want to talk a little bit about how one we've all voiced our opinions and just expressed how we feel in the chat for months. I wish a lot of the shit we could just go back and find. We say a lot of shit. A lot of shit is we say some nut shit, but even in the nut shit, it's some truth to all of it. Relying a lot of people out here. I mean, and I understand. I was even in therapy yesterday, and my therapist was like, it's time for us to have some more powerful Black voices speak up. Like they did in like the 50s and 60s. I'm like, you know what? I understand that. And, I know so badly us Black people, we want to champion our Black celebrities because, they're the leaders of the culture and yada, yada, yada. I mean, I know it's something that you want them to do the right thing in essence. But to rely and to expect them to always do the right thing and say the right things, you're sadly mistaken. They live in a bubble. They live in a world that is so far removed from our everyday reality that when they do say something, it's super tone deaf. It's just very misguided to the point of why did you say anything at all? Not all Black celebrities, of course. There are Black celebrities out there who know what the fuck they're talking about, and they have been for years. Not them. It's the niggas who think they're saying the right things just to, I don't know, appease the public. And then they just sound loud and wrong. It's a lot of them niggas out there, bro. And it just be burning me up because I'm like, bro, you really just didn't even have to say anything at all. Like, you could have just shut up. You could have literally just been quiet.
And that's what I'm reminded of, honestly.
So how do y'all feel like? And Dave, you could go right after this. You can piggyback off of it. Like, when it comes to Black elitists, Black entertainers, Latino celebrities, Latino elite, like all of them, they're all part of that same little bubble. All of them. They're not quite the white man, but they're like right there, and they have the same. They have the same money. They have the same power. They have the same connection. So how do y'all feel about them and the moves that they make during these times, and the things that they say that come off as tone deaf and disconnected? Like, and Dave, you could go like, what do you think that they should do, or like, how do you feel about them even talking about things?
I mean, for me personally, like, a while ago when I was younger, I came to the conclusion that with a lot of these people, like, you got to separate whatever they're doing in their real lives from whatever you enjoy from them. You know what I mean? In terms of like music, entertainment, whatever. But as I said earlier, once you do kind of like say something that kind of either affects me or like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll draw the line in the sand. I can't either fuck with you or I can't fuck with it. I have to make a judgment. So to me, I'm usually like, I'd rather, once again, you just didn't say anything at all. Like, I was you know me, I'm a huge comic book guy. Like, I fucking, Anthony Mackie and Shamik Moore. Anthony Mackie hasn't said anything about this, and he probably won't. And the reason being is because years ago, he said that if you're a Black person,
I remember it.
Dreads.
I remember Anthony Mackie.
If you're a Black person, you don't feel like being profiled. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's like, what type of statement is that to make? He's like, he told his cousin or something like that, don't get dressed. And then going back to Shamik Moore, who we mentioned earlier, he fucking essentially respectability politics, where it's like, yo, if we weren't doing certain things, maybe they wouldn't treat us like that, or it starts with us in our community. And it's like,
goodness gracious,
to be like, why even say anything at all? Like, Young Jeezy today put out a message where he was like, yo, I don't condone looting. I don't quite understand why you're looting, but honestly speaking, if it was a few years back, I'd probably be right there with y'all. So just,
he said that, but don't lose the message.
Yeah,
wait, who said that?
Like, don't lose the message.
I think Jeezy said that, right?
Yeah, Jeezy. That's a good message to put out. You know what I mean? For a Black elitist celebrity, like, you're in that position, like, there's outside of donating, that's the best thing you can say and do. But to be like, oh, you should
exactly,
or we should be doing things peacefully. Even that the old girl that cried over Gucci, Like,
Oh,
bro,
hey, yo.
like,
G, yeah,
Gucci ain't
G,
did shit to y'all.
bro, like, and then like T.I. and Killer Mike saying don't fuck up ATL. T.I. calling ATL Wakanda. You just sitting there looking, and it's just like
What?
so,
What did you just say to me? No, what?
No,
bro.
Yes.
Yeah, I said what?
Out of T.I.'s nigga lips, out of his very light skinned Negro lips, he said, "We ain't gonna fuck up Atlanta. This
No
Wakanda."
way,
Then
no
he
way.
walked off
Yeah,
like that was his mic drop.
bro. And it's like, bro, like, come on. I won't even get into the semantics of Wakanda not being the very best example of the nation right now.
Oh boy, because it's some. I know it. Mm-hmm.
But it's like just the
Here we
tone
come.
essence of like, bro, like these are. We're not talking about how you want to hear these people. We're talking about people who want their voices heard. So just listen to the message, bro. Like, so if it to me, once again, just don't say anything at all if you're gonna say something. Like,
If you're not, but you can say something if you are equipped. If you're like equipped, you have like you know what the fuck you're about to say. Like people like I look at John Legend and some people who they're so well versed in what's going on that if they don't say something, you're kind of like, damn, I would have expected John to say something because usually this nigga's never quiet. You got somebody who what? I'm hungry, boys.
Fuck.
Hey, yo,
These guys don't know how to do Zoom. Jeez.
But no, I mean it's to Jimmy's question. I think I've already kind of covered it how I feel. Don't say shit if you don't know what you're talking about. That goes for anybody, even if one of us four, when we get put on, if we get to a point of where we got access to people and to money and things like that, we got to stay well versed in our community because we're not too far removed from it. But some of these black celebrities, they think that they don't realize that it doesn't take long for you to end up right back out there in the streets. And the moment that you end up back in the streets, the moment that you end up back in the headlines, who do you rely on to pull your raggedy ass out the fire?
exactly.
that's a fact.
Come on, bro. Don't say shit you're gonna alienate all of these black celebrities. I don't care how big of a pop star they are. Drake, The Weeknd, fucking anyone, even though the niggas are Canadian. Anyone, Beyonce, their core fan, they can have as many the diverse fans that they want. Their core fan base are black.
Right.
Go.
Period.
Most definitely.
Do not alienate your core fan base because you are trying to please and appease your corporate sponsors. You will fuck yourself over because the moment that you have to rely on your core fan base, guess where they done went to? They done moved the fuck on because you don't even know how to. You don't know how to respect the people who done been there for you from the beginning. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So actually, I have a question.
Right.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dixon.
Even going back to like what the new normal is going to be like, how do you think like the celebrities that didn't say anything or didn't do anything or did the wrong thing even? Like, for example, like say Kanye West, who hasn't really said too much right now. But even if you go back over the last decade, he hasn't really said
that's a huge disappointment.
He hasn't said anything in a long time, like you say. Yeah, I know what you say. Yeah.
Well, what do you all think is gonna happen after this? Like in that new normal, like how are people gonna view? Like how is the general public, us gonna view somebody like Kanye West? Where it's like, okay, when we needed your voice the most, like you was wearing a MAGA hat, why couldn't you go talk to that nigga? Like, you know what I mean? Like so.
Right, and if Kanye has and he's deep down in a sunken place up in Calabasas, if he had any form of conscience still, he would realize and he would know like, damn, I really was wilding. Look at all of this shit that's happening. Now do I understand what the MAGA hat truly represents? But this nigga is so stuck in his Calabasas bubble that he ain't gonna say anything. And when he does, it's gonna sound nuts.
Bro, just like this whole time, even from the time the quarantine started, even with the coronavirus and shit, like the way celebrities came out and the things they did during, even from that, like even something as not to like downplay because it is a serious thing still to this day. Of course. Like something like that, they still managed a way to fuck up even during that. So like now during this fucking war that we have going on outside, like war you have black people, like you have all these people now saying shit like Shamik Moore. Everything that came out of his mouth was just completely wrong. He said, "Why in Rosa Parks takes a cat?" Like that
was nuts.
I wish I could have taken his words and turned it into a belt and told him to go into the room. Like Going to the
No,
like, I
for,
wish I could.
no, like everything that he's fucking done, everything he said throughout this entire thing has just been completely wrong. And then you have like, um, my thing is, and this is the one thing I've been telling everybody. Like when everybody is talking about like the next step and like where do we go from here, like what are we trying to get out of this? What I'm telling people is like, who would you nominate if you had the opportunity to be your like not leader but like your representative? For example, we have in our communities a lot of billionaires, we have millionaires, we have a lot of rich, powerful people. Where are they now? They're not doing anything. If governors came out and governors said, like, hey, every state, this has been going on long enough. Every state, send us your representative. Send us someone that's going to come in and speak up for you. Who the fuck are we sending in there to talk for us? There's nobody that's going to go into any of those rooms to speak up for us. Fucking Jay-Z last night dropped a playlist. It's like, nigga, nobody wants to know fucking
Last
playlist,
night?
bro. Yes,
Was that last night he dropped
night?
this? I'm looking
Yeah.
right at it right now, gents. Let's since yeah, this was last night. I think it has the date on here too.
Yo, in the middle of all this shit, he went and dropped a fucking playlist, and it's like, bro, we don't need a fucking playlist. Like, you have people with less money. You have.
So was
people
it
with
the
less
technical? Because when Tidal does something, we assume Jay-Z, but was it really the Tidal
wasn't.
team maybe?
Bruh,
And
no,
personnel
look.
maybe?
No, dog.
Fucked up.
Nah. They
No,
said
you
it right
want to show
here.
it? Look, Jay-Z right there.
Survival 2.
Songs for Survival 2. He dropped that last night, fam. Like, in the middle of all of this, you have people with less money, less power, and less respect than you risking their lives. You have homie Kendrick from Insecure. He was out there getting hit by cops.
Getting hit by the cops with
You have
goddamn
Wale. I saw Wale on Saturday.
I saw Wale on Saturday.
He was in the faces of police.
He was in the thick. Yeah, he was out there.
You have Keke Palmer out on Sunset Boulevard getting in the face of fucking National Guard. Like, you have people with you have J. Cole was out there walking. Dennis Smith Jr. was out there. Yesterday, I saw Kelly Oubre on Sunset Boulevard walking.
Yeah.
Like, you see people that like have less
Tory
money,
Lanez.
less power.
Tory Lanez was out in
Lanez
Miami.
out there. You have these people that don't have as much money and power as the people that we hold to that standard and that we put up there. Where the fuck are they? Where's Diddy? Diddy's out here posting shit on Instagram.
Bro.
Jay-Z's dropping playlists.
Human rights issue too.
Yeah, like,
you would have thought he would have been in the mix with the voter die back in 2008,
I remember
2007,
that.
2008.
I remember that.
And now Diddy is like, he really
I do
used
remember
to
that
be.
campaign.
He does, because people forget the platform that they have. Not only that, they forget the power that they have. You guarantee you, they have a Rock Nation walk. You know what I'm saying? You can have a brunch, have a Rock Nation walk all the way to Beverly Hills peacefully. And we have our own protection and security covering us. It's us and whoever wants to walk, nothing that allowed, because our own security and personnel is going to shut that down. And you don't think how many more people are going to get out there? Like, people forget their platforms. Or is it that their platform is just too big for them to control?
bro, and perfect example, like how you said, just today alone, there was the whole Blackout Tuesday thing today. Like, that was started by music executives. That was started by music executives to do, and they went and they walked in Beverly Hills. Diddy went and posted it on Instagram. Diddy, why aren't you out there walking? And from what I heard from that protest today in Beverly Hills from the music executives, it was like 80% white people out there. Where are the black music executives? Like, where are you? Like, like, all y'all doing is tweeting and posting shit. Like, them, they should be past social media. Like us, I understand why we would be on social media advocating and doing what we can via social media, because we don't have the money and the power that they have.
Period.
Son, they should be out there risking their lives. Why the fuck are the people that are putting money in their pocket risking their lives for them? That's essentially what we're doing, risking our lives for them, because
we are.
Because once we come out from all of this, guess what we're going to do? We're going to go listen to the music. We're going to go buy their product. We're going to go support them, and they're going to keep on getting fucking rich.
You think people still will, bro, after this? Like,
I think so. I think so, bro.
You think so, bro? There's
Like
a
me-
lot of
Like, me personally, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's a lot of people, there's a lot of things I was paying attention to every place I ever worked my entire work career to see what they said, how long it took them to say it, and what they claim that they're about to do, bro. and everybody disappointed me. I'll be quite honest. I'll be
The
100%
only one that never disappoints and always does the right thing, but depending on what the right thing is Nike. They're not afraid to put themselves in the front.
I'll give them
Not
that.
afraid.
They're a little early. I wasn't the happiest about it, but I had some issues or whatever, because I always do. But they were pretty early. They were before a lot of other people. So I'll give them that.
As a company, when you actually say Black Lives Matter, they didn't cover it up. They went for it. You know?
No, they don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, I think, bro, we live in a world where, I mean, I do think that these things like this, when stuff like this happens, and, you know, it's unfortunate because it directly affects us. And it affects these Black ass celebrities too. Even if they don't want to even acknowledge it, it affects them too. Because if something affects us, like Jimmy just said, if it affects their core audience, it affects their core supporters, then it's going to affect their pockets too. Even though they might already be rich and already done had the claim and success, but it still is at the end of the day. But I do know for a fact that niggas is going to eventually go back to, not all, but there will be some who go back to, like, after when this whole thing is over, it'll be right back to, well, you know, shit, them niggas were trash and during the movement, but I still do like this album. I still do like this song. Even if they look at it from a different scope now, it's like, damn, now I know you trash though. So this album don't even sound the same.
Trying to separate the music from the person, but with this particular situation, it's really hard to even, I guess it's really hard to even consider listening to a Jay-Z album moving forward. This nigga dropped a playlist called Songs for Survival. You know what I'm saying? I know.
What was that supposed to just, and was it supposed to power the crowds, power the protests? Like, what was it supposed to do?
Oh, now I'm ready to protest.
Like, it went platinum because everybody was streaming it when they were getting beat the shit out of.
I think us all being, you know, avid music fans, listeners, all of that stuff. We probably understand his idea of why he probably did it. It was just the timing was all wrong. Really, when you really think about it, the timing was fucked up.
During like a protest, to be quite honest, like niggas are protesting.
Like he dropped a. I remember him doing this a few years ago. I think this was I can't remember which incident it was, but he dropped. This is why I said Songs for Survival too. He's dropped a Songs for Survival playlist before, but it wasn't around. It wasn't around. It wasn't in the midst of niggas out there on Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard and all of that stuff. Like, it was around that time, but it wasn't right in the moment that niggas were out there protesting. So people received it a little differently. Now you're dropping a playlist when niggas are literally out there right now scrapping with cops.
Bro, like niggas do not know what the fuck's gonna happen tomorrow, bro. Curfew is changed every single day the last 4 days.
Yesterday was 5. Today is 6.
What niggas told you in the morning, curfew was completely different by the end of the day, bro. Like, niggas, you dropping Songs for Survival 2?
Part 2. Don't forget 2. He's done it twice.
And it's the first one. We got another one for that ass.
And I also think it's nuts that when we touched on YG. Hold on. No. When we discussed YG earlier, when we discussed YG earlier, dropping a song today, wasn't the whole point of the Blackout Tuesday to be in solidarity with not really streaming or dropping or doing anything like that?
Which was also weird because, from what I understand, doesn't new music drop on like Friday? So wouldn't
so I don't.
Friday be like the best day?
Another thing.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. I see a lot of people, majority being actually from here, and maybe this is a chance that Dave can actually elaborate on this. But they're just like, we're very against the black squares to the point of they still black and they understand, but they don't want to be silenced, you know? Yeah. And they were also saying, why wouldn't we buy from our own community today? You know, a lot of people were saying that, which was like, I went out, you know what I'm saying? I got me some oxtails, you know what I'm saying? Black owned.
Oh.
But like, I'm just saying, like, it's not a time to really just sit back and stay silent. You know what I'm saying? I
agree.
posted it too, but I just don't want people to think too much into it to fact where they'll be like, okay, well, no, all you did was post like a black square. Like, listen, this is a unifying act. This act itself isn't going to change things. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to weed out the bad people. Let's just be thankful that they posted it too. Get on their case after the fact if that's all they posted. But right now, everybody's allowed to post.
Exactly, yeah.
You know?
An earlier statement I made about that, me not feeling like, yeah, that's very, very true. I did like the unity behind that. Like, I didn't post that personally, but I did like the idea that, a lot of people unifying it behind it. I just wasn't a big fan of people that said nothing, that was the first thing. But but to the LA thing about people feeling, like they didn't want to be silenced behind that, just growing up out here, I mean, you guys have all mentioned that you guys' experiences just with white people in general just completely different. There's been far more overt racism, just in the areas you guys live in. And that I truly believe, but I'll say my experience with, like, I've never had a good experience with cops. Like, to the point where it's like they've never spoken to me well. Like, I've always had to like prove that I'm like a innocent, like I'm guilty for like
a righteous Negro.
And just but the one thing I can say about every situation I've ever been in with a cop, you know what I mean, especially the LAPD, is that they realize that I'm not whatever nigga they think I am, because I don't talk like whatever nigga that they think I should be talking like. And I clearly don't bang whatever gang that they think I bang, and I don't have any warrants. You know what I mean? It's no drugs. At that point, you know what I mean, I'm free to go. And not a lot of niggas speak like me. Not a lot of niggas, are able to articulate a lot of things like I am, or even like anybody else in this chat. A lot of niggas don't make it out. And a lot of people, that's like niggas that don't make it out, or niggas that die, like that's their brother, that's their cousin, that's their sister, that's their mom, that's their aunt, that's their, you know what I'm saying? So for a lot of people, it's personal. So to see like, oh, don't post nothing, just post this black thing and then put this hashtag. To some people, it's like, well, why would you want to suppress your voice? Like the Tuesday after this shit is
right.
That makes sense. So like something like that would be like after like a long time. You know what I mean? Like, okay, this is.
I got the ice cream truck around their crib.
No, I think my room.
Is that the ice cream truck?
Somebody ready to get a push pop?
Mr. Ice Cream.
That
ice cream man. Yo, that ice cream truck about to get robbed, boy. They're about to.
The ice cream truck come by my house every single day since COVID started. If niggas want to know what I did. Since COVID started, ice cream truck been coming by my house every single day, bro. These niggas, they've been trying to get.
You've been buying.
Nah, not really. Every now and then I go. But these niggas got the soft serve and they do a little hot chili Fritos.
Whoa, what?
They do that on the
finished.
ice cream?
No, not
You're finished.
Whoa.
My niggas never had hot chili Fritos?
I've had hot chili Fritos, nigga.
Ice cream, obviously.
I'm about to say, I thought you did it on ice cream. You were
Wait. Oh, wait, are you talking about like actual like chili on top of like the Fritos? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, niggas like open the bag, they take like a scoop of chili, put it in the bag, put like some cheese.
No, I never done that before. Nah.
You never done that?
Oh, no, I never done it before. It's good?
Give me
What kind of shit is that?
Give me some chili Fritos, like the nigga from Friday.
Yeah, you
just yell that shit out.
Is that what that is? Chili Fritos?
Yeah. You don't want to do hot just as you guys say, put you in a pot.
We used to call it Frito pie growing up. Is what it was. It was
really?
Fritos and that.
Frito pie?
See, that sounds disgusting. No.
That's what it was. You put Fritos and you put then you put the chili, then you put the cheese, and then you put the sour cream, then you put more chips on top. You are going to the pot. That's where you're
finished. You're finished. That's what it is.
But to close off that right there, we're expecting celebrities and not having any leaders, to just be quite honest. Like, for like YG last night when he posted his the protest and all that, he organized a protest and then just didn't show up, and then proceeded to drop a song.
Yeah, that's
on a day that we weren't supposed to listen to music, stream any music on any platform or anything, to stand in solidarity. But then you go and you drop a brand new song on a day that people don't drop music anymore. People don't drop music on Tuesdays anymore. So you went and took advantage of this opportunity to get people riled up. And then you go drop a song called Fuck the Police. Why? Because you thought people was going to drive around in caravans and listen to the song? Like, is that what you're expecting out of this? Like, and then another thing is people
people put these celebrities on these pedestals and they glorify them so much, and they accept bare minimum
so
acts.
much.
They accept bare minimum acts, like the shit with YG today. People on Instagram are defending him.
I'm sure.
He said, I was told it'll be too dangerous to go outside and I don't want anybody to get hurt. Fam, you was the one that started the stay dangerous thing. Now you're gonna go in your bunker? Like, come on, G. Like you can't preach that, and then when it's time for you to show up and show out, you just completely disappear and you say, nah, it's gonna be too dangerous. I don't want nobody to get hurt. You can't do that.
You know, I feel like my uncle from LA used to say stay dangerous though. So I feel like that's something that YG adopted from the OGs. But no, I know what you're saying though, Jimmy. It's something that
J305 whole album was called Stay Dangerous.
Shit,
See,
YG wrote
before that,
album
YG.
Stay Dangerous. Oh, okay, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. It's already a thing. Yeah. So like, and then you have people donating money. Then you have clowns like Virgil. He donated $50, and then he posted it and tagged people so people could like match it or something. He's like, oh, here's $50. Tag 4 people to donate $50. It's like, yo, fam, Off-White alone, you make $20 million a year off of Off-White alone. So it's like, yo, fam, like,
right?
That's an insult at this point. That's a fucking insult. Like,
that's what you, myself, or that's
that
like
shouldn't have been something he reposted either. Like, come on.
Yeah, you should have not done that.
At that point, when you get to that level of cooning, you don't post that. When you get to that level of cooning, like, you don't do that no more. It's like, oh, $50, I ain't gonna tell nobody. You know how embarrassing that is for you to get that, to have that much money, and people, and nothing on your website costs $50, and you donate $50. Like, fam,
50, somebody did the math. That $50 is like 11. Like, was it even 11? Maybe 11. Might have been a little less % of like an Off-White belt. Not even the fucking shirt.
Son, a Off-White paperclip that he sells on his website costs $90. A paperclip costs $90.
Hold on, a paperclip? This nigga really selling paperclips?
$90.
Yes, $90 for a paperclip, and he donated $50 fucking dollars. That is an insult. You don't put that out, fam. Like, you keep that to yourself.
I don't think it's, and I really think it's kind of also an insult for people to assume that, I don't know, niggas can donate whatever they want, and Virgil donating $50 is nuts. But aside from the donating money, artists in like the 40s and 50s and all of them, all way back then, them niggas had no choice but to be out on the front line. But that shouldn't also stop these newer artists from also wanting to live in that same glory, because they understood that didn't stop Marvin Gaye, or that didn't stop all of these people from being out there in the street protesting with people. That didn't take away from their overall status.
What's the difference? What's the difference between these older artists who definitely have stamped their way into the game, but then there's your YB and Cordays who are passionate out there on the front line? Like, why are you so special that you can't actually show face and pull up? You know what I'm saying? And that I'm a security risk and I'm a celeb and higher up, that's out the window, because there's no way you can't protest. And you think, what's people going to be trying to take pictures with you? People out there, I have a clear conscience of why they're out there.
I think
that. Go ahead, Dixon. Go ahead, Dixon.
I was gonna say that the difference is that these younger niggas, like, because when they got all this information at their hands and
exactly
realize like their job in music isn't as secure as, like, you know, people be acting like. So like whatever shit they got going on, like, they know whatever their income is, they're comfortable in it, that they could go out in the front line and not give a shit if they lose X amount of money. You know what I mean? These older heads, because they got this like idea of like, oh, I don't have to be like the niggas I grew up with. I could become like these white people that I've been, you know, seeing on TV and shit. Because of that, they're feeling like, okay, well, I don't have to be out there with these niggas because I'm not like these niggas. I'm more like these people that's in these houses that's scared. So I need to be chilling in my house scared. Like, I personally think that's a disconnect.
We still talking about Hov now.
And I think.
I mean, yo, look,
not necessarily.
You know, because like, one thing about Hov, historically, you can go back and you can see that he's done things for the community. Like, he's done stuff for the culture.
He has.
And he'll do it.
Definitely.
Like, that's one thing about Hov. Like, it might be
3
years from now, we might find out he did some shit for it. However, this is one time one time where it's like, you're not outside protesting, my nigga. Like you can hand out $1 million donation and hold the big ass check with these niggas, like if you want, like, and we won't be mad at you, like we just like, not even necessarily that we need to show a face, but it says a lot more not showing face than it does showing face. You know what I'm saying? Like it says a lot more you putting out a playlist and you putting out the little message like, oh, I talked to the governor, like they're gonna try this nigga to the fullest extent of the law, guys. Like that shit to me is like, okay, cool, bro, but like this nigga's legit getting hit with a nigga lost his eye behind a tear gas.
Whole eye.
Lost his
eyeball.
eye. You know what I mean? Jig, I don't care about this place. I don't care what you say to this governor, nigga. Like, we need to see something, bro. This ain't about
you see, but that goes back to accepting bare minimum from the people that you like. So he said he made a phone call. You could call the mayor's office too. All of us here can call the mayor's office too. Like, and just because he called the governor, the mayor, the senator, whoever, just because he called them, doesn't mean that they're gonna be like, oh shit, Jay-Z called, let's give this man life. No, it's still this is still something that is going to get tried in court. It's still gonna go to a fucking jury, no matter what call he made.
And all hell's gonna break loose if they don't do the right thing.
Exactly. So the call you made is just you calling to say, I am a father of black kids and I feel hurt about this. Like, fam, like everybody's heard about this. Like, you ain't have to make a phone call to tell anybody that. You ain't have to do that shit.
Yeah.
But people accept it. So
I think
people
you're right.
accept the things that people do because they like them, and it's bullshit. And that's why I'm good. Every time I see it, I'm gonna call it out and I'm gonna tell people, like, you're gonna accept this from this person? Like, is that the pedestal you have them on? Because if that's what it is, I need to know.
And I understand that, like, to what Kev was saying, and we all probably can mirror each other's ideas on this, you know, versus, you know, back then in the civil rights, early in the civil rights era, because nigga, we still are fighting for civil rights. It hasn't stopped. But at the height of it, like in the 60s when, you know, MLK and, you know, all the other niggas out there, that just sounds so insensitive. But everybody else out there, public figure, musician, artist, whatever it is, it's like they went out there with nothing to lose. It's like this is more important to me than Grammys. This is more important to me than having a critically acclaimed album or getting a check or something like that. That's something that still resonates a lot, even with our generation, because we grew up in an era where those artists, you know, that were marching in, they were still kind of around. They were older, but they were still around, you know, when we were younger. And we still want to try to hold some of these celebrities to that standard, because how can you not want to be out here fighting for your people? You know what I mean? Like, these are, at the end of the day, like, these are still your people. Yeah, you rich. Yeah, you're schmoozing with rich, you know, upper class people in Hollywood and DC. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you still have to do more than just, you know, a repost or something like that. Now, I understand not everybody can be out there in the field. Not everybody is going to be out there in the field. I understand that. Not
everybody built like that.
Not everybody is. Not everybody's built like that. But there are more things that you can do if you can't be out there marching. There are, and some people just won't. And if you're not gonna do it, like Dixon said earlier, and I think I said it too, if you not, don't say anything. I don't want to hear from you. Actually, just don't say anything.
I'm not hearing from you, truthfully. Like, actually, you know what Jay-Z could do that regardless of what our opinions on celebrities, one thing Jay-Z could do, and I would challenge all billionaires to do, is to just buy black for a month. Encourage all your followers to buy black for a month. Just be like, yo, here's a bunch of, like, you know, black businesses or stuff, or like stuff that I own, or here's stuff that my friends own. Only buy from these people and these things for a full month. Like, really hit these niggas' pockets, bro.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, Dave, because, like, throughout all of this, one thing I have seen is all these disconnected rich folks. They throughout all of this are like, oh, protect the black businesses, like, don't touch them. It's like, fam, you don't even support them. Why do you care about it? You're not. First of all, you're not outside.
Yeah.
You haven't been outside, and you don't even support them yourself. So why are you concerned about what happens to their business? Don't tell people how to conduct their business when they outside. And yet, it sucks that a lot of those independent businesses that don't have the backing that the major corporations do, that they're going down. It sucks to see that. Yeah. But at the same time, if that's how the message is going to get across, then let that be the route, you know. But don't tell them, don't touch that, don't destroy that when you don't even fuck with it yourself. You're just doing it to make it look like you're down for the cause. Like yeah, like a lot of the people, a lot of them are faking the funk just for social media, and it's like, yo, fam, at this point, if you not outside, at this point, if you're not outside, nothing you do matters. You have all, like, where's Diddy? Where's Dr. Dre? Where's Snoop Dogg?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, where are these people? Like, why aren't they outside? Like, it was a great point Kevin made. Why the fuck isn't there like a Rock Nation walk? That's the least you could fucking do.
Yeah.
That's the least you could fucking do.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like Diddy. He could do
That
a revolt.
is, bro.
He could do a revolt walk.
Baseball games in the 90s, he could for sure put together a little walk.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? Like,
But the thing about it is, it's way
like
more inspiring hearing it from somebody at that stature. When you hear from somebody at that stature, it's like, okay, you know what? Like, it's go time. Because when the Cap situation happened, Stephen A was blaring, everybody was talking crazy, but now it's just like, it just seems like it's just the youth left to just figure it out. And just like everybody's like chilling with their heads cut off. Just
they left
you
it up
never
to
know.
us.
It's not organized, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Which
feel
is like, okay, cool. We got it. But don't think that we're supposed to answer to you after something this monumental was left on our hands.
Yeah. After that,
and that's all I'm saying. Because that's
exactly. I ain't even got nothing. I don't even have anything after that.
And there's been a lot of instances too, like, and just to close this out like that, a lot of them, I think one of y'all mentioned it, like, they just be cooning and tap dancing because they want to protect their bottom line. A lot of them, I feel like one problem that is really going on here, especially with like the super rich, the super wealthy, is that they're so concerned and so focused on their generational wealth and their wealth being passed down on their family that they don't see the bigger picture anymore. They're just worried about their immediate family and friends and how they're doing financially, because that's what it boils down to. They don't want to break those connections. They don't want to piss off people. They don't want to step on any toes. That's why you see people that aren't celebrities or that aren't on the same level as them per se, like they're in the same tier as them. That's when you see them outside, because they're like, yo, fuck it, I don't care, man. Like, I remember being these people. I remember being out here with them. So I'm gonna be out here too in the front line. Fuck it. But a lot of them are tap dancing. Like Stephen A. Smith today, I think he said something on Twitter that it was like empowering, like something about Colin Kaepernick or the 49ers or whatever it was. And then somebody brought up old tweets of him condemning Colin Kaepernick for what he did. And it was like, bro, you was tap dancing just a few years ago.
We was calling him Steppin' A. Smith.
Exactly.
Like Steppin' Fetchin'.
Yeah, Steppin' A. Smith. So now you, and now you worried about this, you know, like a lot of them are more concerned about their connections and their pockets than anything else. And I can't say I'm mad at them, because a lot, because it's an issue that has happened in our community. Like, we don't have people that can pass down generational wealth. So I can see why they're concerned about that. I can see why their concern is that. But you have to make things, you have to prioritize things and show people exactly where you stand. And they've shown us that, like Corey said, you shown us your ass. Like, you showing us exactly who you are. You're showing it.
Exactly.
You're showing it. And our generation, bro, like, and generations behind us, like, sure, man, we're gonna engage. Even after this, we'll probably engage with the foolery and all of that stuff from time to time. But we ain't gonna never forget about the time when you niggas left us hanging. Like, okay, yeah, you released a new song, you released a new album. All right, cool. Yeah, it ain't bad. Nigga, but you remember
that's
that time?
What's up. But what about that? What about that one time
we needed you though? Damn.
Remember the time that people was outside dying while listening to your music?
My favorite shit on Twitter right now is this you. Whenever somebody says something, they'll just be like, this you? And then they'll just somebody saying some nut shit, or a video of them saying some nut shit. And it's just like, bruh. But that's what I'm saying. After this shit is over, and on top of that, just to close out this shit, but there's so much content now. So if I, like me, I don't fuck with Shamik Moore. I don't want to watch anything that nigga ever does again. I can go the rest of my life. I can live 100 years.
Who? Who? Shamik Moore? Oh, okay.
Yeah, say I don't want to watch anything.
Oh, what was he even in? What was he even in? I don't even know the guy.
He was in Dope. He was in the Get Down.
I've actually seen
Down.
It was Spider-Man. He was Miles Morales. He was the fucking Black Spider-Man.
Just can't win.
And
Bro.
even I even
There's
saw
a
the picture
black
of my birthday.
Spider-Man?
Yeah. Where's this nigga? Cut his mic. I can't cut him off. I don't know.
There wasn't no black Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was. No, it is. His name is
There was
Miles Morales.
And it came out in theaters.
Yeah, the amazing Spider-Man. They won an Oscar. Yeah, like Dixie said.
It was in cartoon though.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, but he was still a black
Exactly.
Spider-Man. You're
Shut
finished.
up.
Cut
First
his
of all,
mic.
the
Cut his fucking mic.
Spider-Verse bullshit.
Yeah, that joint.
It's quiet. Yeah, no, ain't nobody watch that shit.
He made $1 billion.
That's made $1 billion.
He's still canceled.
See, now you got me defending this buck.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
Get this nigga out of here. But nah, like there's so much content now. Like you could not, like even YG was just like I don't have like YG trying to send niggas to their death and then dropping the song behind it. I don't have to listen to YG no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I could be good for the rest of my life. And I could live 100 years and I'll be okay. Like I really think
It's true.
I think it's really important that not even just us that but like everybody in the community, we hold each other accountable and we really draw a line in the sand. Like, yo, when we needed you the most, like you could say whatever you want, not say whatever you want, but when we needed you the most, like all that shit you was talking before, you ain't say shit. Somebody brought up a lot of niggas was talking about like busting guns in their songs.
Oh, you saw that meme too? Yeah, with the
right now.
Yeah, yeah. When it was that one of Ned Flanders, he pulled out the AR and then it was like, where you at? He was,
but it's
Ned Flanders from The Simpsons?
Yeah, it was like him with a gun in one part and the other part, he was just like, but it's like, yo, like, it's a line in the sand.
Niggas is wildin'.
Say what you want to. If you don't want to say, you want to talk. Don't. But if you did not speak, or if you said the complete wrong thing, or if you tried to go against niggas, like should remember that, and we should hold you accountable for that. And we should draw a line in the sand and like make you pay. Like obviously not in a violent way or anything like that, but like
yeah.
hurt your pockets. This nigga said, man.
Here's one thing, bro, and this will be my closing statement. We can give some closing statements now.
Yeah.
Like I heard. Yeah, we can finish it up. You know, like I heard today when I was. Yeah, we can wrap up. This nigga Kev is finished. I actually can't cut his mic. I can't.
I'm never finished because it's me. Okay, you think that you guys can get to me? It's me. Come on, gents.
But yeah, go ahead.
It's the gents.
Go ahead. This nigga disappeared.
Like I heard today, bro. I heard something today that was like hella powerful, bro. When I was off up on the call today with the LAPD commission. When people keep talking about, you know,
somebody said Michael Jackson.
Bro, I couldn't wait to get on. I could not wait. I could not wait. I was shaking. I couldn't wait to get on there, bro. And every time they got to me, they would skip over me, or the commissioner would literally tag my hand, like, you raise your hand. She would put my hand down because they kept wanting to take a break, whatever the fuck. But anywho,
my God.
A few people said today, bro, and I've heard it before, but I've heard it in different ways. I think we've all even said it before. These corporations are going to rebuild. They're fine. Target and fucking even Flight Club or whomever. These niggas are fine.
Fuck them.
They're going to be good. They have enough capital. They have enough money that this right here, this ain't do nothing to them, but give them a reason to rebuild and make the shit even bigger and better or whatever the fuck they want to do to the first time. But nothing is looted on looted land. This land was stolen. We were stolen.
This land is my land. This land is your land.
He's from Virginia.
This land is
he's
hello,
from
my
Virginia,
baby. Hello, my darling.
Darling. Hello, my right time. You're finished. Oh no, I do want to. I already know Jimmy probably already got the bozo of the whole damn quarantine.
I cannot. It's been a long time coming. Oh,
but that's really it though, man. For people out there worried about all of like the looting and all of this stuff, man, there's black blood being spilled on these fucking streets, bro. These corporations are fine. They do not care. They don't care about when corporations come out and they say, bro, we don't care about them goddamn stores and them shoes and that shit that was stolen. When just like the musicians, when our core demo are the people who are having their lives stolen from them, we can rebuild that shit, but you can't replace the lives that are constantly being taken away from them out here. You can't.
but we can rebuild these stores. So for all you motherfuckers out there who, all this looting, yada 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 yada. Okay, yeah, you ain't gotta participate. We may not all participate, but that don't mean that the people out there who are doing the shit. One, that don't always mean the people out there who are looting are part of the original cause, anyways. Because we see you niggas out there who are coming to incite violence, and you're doing it to make black people look crazy. We see you too. You're not fucking absolved from any of this shit. But stop worrying about people who have already come out and publicly said that this shit don't really matter. What matters most is black people being alive in order to actually enjoy the shit, enjoy the culture that they built. Let them be here. Let their kids and their brothers and their sisters and their aunties and uncles, let them be here to enjoy it. We ain't worried about that product, that merchandise. Virgil goddamn saying, oh, the product in your apartment is tainted. Nigga, if you don't shut up, I need you to take
he's tainted.
Yeah, I need you to take the closest fuck and shut it up. Please, take it and shut it. You don't care about that product, bruh. The niggas who are wearing the product are the people out here getting popped by police. Niggas out here getting tucked. For real, for real. Niggas ain't worried about that shit, bruh. Stop worrying about that. Stop worrying about your corporate sponsors. We've all had to worry about corporate entities before. We ain't worried about this shit right now. So you multimillionaires and gazillionaires out there, you shouldn't be worried about this shit either. And stop coming down on people out here who are trying to goddamn make some noise and have their voices be heard. If niggas don't want to hear us, man, you know what's next. Niggas don't want to hear peaceful. You know what's next, bruh. You know what happens after that. But that's all I gotta say.
Ain't pretty.
Yeah. Anybody got any other closing statements? That was good. That was you bodied that.
Real good.
The only thing I want to say is, y'all niggas go check out that spreadsheet I made about black businesses.
Yeah.
Everything. Literally got everything. They got like detergent. They got candles, skincare shit, soap, all of that. So check it out. You know what I mean? And anybody listening, of course, go to my Instagram, Dave Dean, spelled DAEVDAAN.
He fucking misspelled his own name, so it's like, you know,
He
the
did.
kind of
I've
person
been
we're
trying to
dealing with.
find him all fucking morning one time. I was pissed. Why you can't just do? Jeez.
But yeah, no, y'all check that out, and I do recommend. I believe there's some sort of I know they're trying to do a thing from like June something to July something, where everybody buys black. But honestly, I encourage anybody listening, check out that spreadsheet or go look online for like black businesses you can purchase from and try to buy as much black stuff, because that's another way to if you can't obviously get out.
Whoop, gents.
What's that?
I got one more thing, one more tiny little thing I want to touch on. It's gonna get messy and spicy, and everybody's gonna want to be a part of it.
What you got?
We talking all this buy black. We talking all this buy black and do all this. You know what yesterday was?
What?
It
was the first day of
Month?
Pride Month.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The first day.
So we gon' Pride Month.
Okay.
Every year they show out, and every year it's a parade. Every year they get exactly what they need, and I don't mean they as that they're not a part of us, we're not a part of them. I'm just saying Pride Month. You're allowed to say that. I want to see, how much light is shed on that. You know what I'm saying, as opposed to what's going on now, because there's never been a year. I'm just speaking from the past. That they didn't run the show the entire June, like it's their month,
I see what you're saying.
because it's already something crazy going on right now, and if you have any idea, like a lot of them are on the front lines too, But I just want to know. It is Pride Month, and they go crazy for Pride Month. A lot of people do. I just want to see if
I thought he was talking about black. I thought you was finna say Black Music Month. I'm like, yeah, it is that too. That's true.
Well, I'll definitely be, contributing.
It's always
to that.
It's every
being Boys Town gents. Sorry.
What's Hollywood? What's left of it? Jimmy, what you got? You want to go ahead and get who you been collecting on the bozo? Kev, you got something else?
What you got, Kev? You got something else?
I was just gonna do just a last closing statement from myself, and then just maybe, and then So I was just saying, this as a whole just feels good, man. Like being able to be on this Zoom call and just express yourself and talk. It feels different than typing it. I can see David's face. I can see Jimmy actually like talk about it. I can see you talk about it, and it feels real good. You feel me? I also think Jimmy mentioned this a long time ago, and I'm not sure if he actually finished it, but going on with the times right now and Buy Black and everything, the majority of everybody that submitted art or song via songs to us has pretty much been like a minority. I think we should make like a nice playlist and really go further the next step of putting people on. And then maybe the next time.
Because I know Jimmy did create that playlist, didn't you? Was
it? I put the playlist up. It's on Spotify though. So like Kev, you handle the Apple Music, so you could just do what I did from Spotify. Just put it all up on Apple Music, and we have both.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna definitely do that because I'm gonna check it out. I had no idea, but I'm gonna definitely support that. And then let's just say that there's another protest. You know what I'm saying? And we're all able to go. We should go as, you know, the Miseducated podcast, and we should put out, listen, we're meeting here, boom, 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 and we can lead our own as a part of a greater one, you know?
I like that idea.
And then we can just, you know, and we can put out a playlist or whatever and just be like, not on no promo stuff, but just as like a, listen, this is what we're on. This is where our minds is at. This is something just to get you through it. That's getting us through it.
And, I feel since Rock Nation and Revolt don't do it.
Exactly. And we're gonna helping out our black brothers in the process.
Hey, they see that, they fuck around and really try to give us the bag then, like, oh, those niggas are tapped in. Let's get them niggas the money.
They tapped in.
Then what are we doing then, gents?
But
hello, my lady. Hello,
but for Bozo of this entire time,
ooh, sheesh.
I guess you could say Bozo of the quarantine and Bozo of the war that's going on outside.
There we go. Talk to us.
I guess you could say the government. You could just say the government has been the Bozo this entire time. The government has
ball on everything.
Collective group. Oh no! The strippers were a collective group that got Bozo of something. I was wondering if this is the first.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah, I remember the strippers. Yeah.
The government and the strippers, the only ones to get the collective bozos.
For real.
Yeah, it's true.
The government, for sure, the biggest bozos this entire time, these last 3 months. They dropped the ball on everything possible. Anything you can do to make any situation better. Any situation you could have made better. They literally made worse every single time. Whether it's local government, whether it's the government in DC, doesn't matter what the fuck it is. They drop the ball every single fucking time. So that's why we have to continue to fucking fight, because we're being ran by bozos.
Last Dance was our last bit of peace.
Yeah,
that's really true.
And just to close out, and just to close out today, like, just everybody just keep fighting, man. Just protest. Every time you see you see a protest being organized, go to it. Like, you see something happening on social media, go for it. Post things that you see online every day that may help somebody out. Like, fuck your algorithms. Your social media look. Fuck
that
all
should be okay.
Aesthetic. You'll be fine.
That should be all right.
Nobody gives a fuck about your sneakers you buying, the clothes you buying, your selfies, the new body you paid for. Ain't nobody give a fuck about none of that shit. Right now, there's way more shit being important right now. So if you see anything online, share it. You don't know who that's gonna help. Make sure to go vote. Make sure to keep fucking protesting. If you have to burn some shit in the process and fuck up some cops in the process, go ahead and do it by any means. You could tell them I told you to do that too. If they want any smoke, they could come to me.
Sorry.
I'll fucking take that. Don't worry about it. But
what Jimmy said.
Just keep fighting, man. Because as long as this shit takes, just keep doing that shit. Because it's been long enough, and this is it. It just wasn't George Floyd. It just wasn't Breonna Taylor. It's been a long time coming, man. And it's
Ahmaud Arbery. Yeah, it's been a.
It's gonna continue to keep happening unless we keep putting our foot down, because they don't work without us. There is no police without us. So
we pay them. They work for us. That is the common theme of all of this.
Yeah. Make that shit fucking known.
And too, to Jimmy's point, if y'all want to do that shit, y'all get put in jail. I'm donating to all bail funds all over America.
Yeah, I donated too.
You know what I'm saying?
For real. I ain't never lived in these cities at all, and I done started got to paying. I'm
look,
spending money.
Not bailed out in the last couple of days. You welcome.
For real, right?
So the Miseducated podcast might have helped free some people.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, but also, like, on a serious note, I am donating to these bail funds. I can't make it to all these protests just because of logistics. But so I'm trying to do my part. If you feel like you out there and you're scared, whether or not you want to hit a cop, you might go to jail, nigga. There's money in your bail fund. I got you, dude.
There's a lot of money. A lot of people been
Foul off.
And for you people, and like Jimmy said earlier, for the people who, you know, can't make it to these protests because, you know, the literal cities are shutting down areas for you not to get there. We understand that not everybody can get to these protests, but that doesn't mean that you have to stop. That doesn't mean that your online voice, that doesn't mean that you can't make these calls. That doesn't mean that you can't email. That doesn't mean you can't donate. That doesn't mean you can't still do something to contribute. Just because you're not out there marching doesn't mean that you have to stop marching, if that makes any sense at all. Because there are a lot of ways that you can still use your voice and use the power that you have to make a change in some way. Would you say, Jimmy?
Also, if you're not protesting, stop complaining about looting.
Period.
If you sit in your ass at home, just fucking reading the timeline and seeing your IG feed, and you're not protesting, don't complain about fucking looting, because you don't own none of those businesses and you're not out on the front line doing either. So shut the fuck up. If you're not
Right.
Exactly. If you're not about the action, shut your mouth. That's it. Simple.
And happy 1 year anniversary to us. Hey.
Oh yeah.
Hey. Yes.
Let's go.
Happy 1 year anniversary to us.
It's a 1 year anniversary to us.
1 year anniversary. Let's go, baby.
It's quite unfortunate how we're having to spin the shit, but we'll be all right. We're gonna be back out there in the field. We're gonna be back out there. Knife and all you niggas out there who gonna watch this, we'll be back.
Y'all are about to
Knife.
Whew. Don't charge us the max.
Yeah, Dave.
We don't need you.
What were you gonna say, Dixon?
No, I was just saying shout out to Asif's new mixtape.
Oh yeah, shout out to Asif. Oh yeah, shout out to, of course, always shout out to our guys. But man, that's all I got, fellas. I got this shit recorded.
And that shit every day.
Fellas, this has been fun. The Miseducated podcast, weighing in on everything all the shit show that's going around, you know. So, you know, always tell our viewers to like email us too, you know, DM us on IG, follow. You know, all of that. We on Twitter.
DM us individually, DM us as a collective. Yeah, we've been on Twitter running anytime.
Yes.
I think we need to get back on there too and just run it up.
So everybody, just make sure like you share the episode with everybody. So just let your people know we spreading good word here, just educating people on certain things. Also, if you don't like what the fuck, if you don't like what the fuck we said, that's none of our business either. So
and that's true. And it's that on that. That's period. And if you feel like there's some shit that you could have contributed or something that you want to contribute, nigga, hit our DMs, hit our comments, hit all of that shit, because you know
to us.
Information is good to share. Just because we might not have touched on something or finished something, that don't mean we ain't putting out something in the atmosphere that niggas need to hear. And niggas need to know that we gonna see this shit through, because that's just what we do. That's what we do historically. We gonna always figure it out. And if the niggas don't want to get behind us, guess what we end up doing? That's all right. We'll figure out how to get along without them. That's just another
get
thing
it done.
We'll get it done.
All right, y'all. It's been real. It's the Miseducated podcast, everybody. Peace out. Stay safe. Keep fighting.
Yeah, niggas.
Let's go.
Rona. We see you, Rona. We know you listening to that Dreams and Nightmare intro. We know it. I thought I was finished. We still see you creeping. We see you lurking, but we ain't finished with you either. But yeah, we finished.
You done? You stopped recording? Or? Oh my.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done recording, fam.